So now I'm on one. I thought that one wasn't hot.
So these two, check one, check two. Is that? So you want me to round then? Check one, check two, check one, check two, check.
And hopefully this one's going to be working too.
Okay.
All right.
Do we need to check that one just in case?
Yep.
Mollywood.
All right, cool. We got everything good? Okay.
Hello, world.
I think Brian's microphone might not be working, but yeah, I'm right here.
Oh.
Oh man, mic check.
Okay, here we go. Here we go.
There
All
we
right,
are.
now you guys can all hear me.
Yes.
All right, guys, everybody,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming out to CNET.com for our WWDC 2013 coverage. What we're going to do here is, this is everything that's going on over at Moscone Center, just maybe around 3 minutes away. So what we're going to be able to do here is talk about what we expect to see, some of the great things, and this is also a really interactive show. We've done this before, so what you guys can do if you really want to be a part of this is call us at 1-888-CNET. That's 2638. That is our phone line. And if you guys are you guys hearing a feedback or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm hearing
Are you
our
a loop?
show back. I think we have it. Our live stream is playing back in our own ears somewhere.
Are we good now?
Yeah, we're good now.
Okay,
We're
awesome.
good.
All right,
We are good now.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay.
Luckily, it's at least an hour before the keynote started, so I know. Don't get me wrong. I know you guys are here and you're listening and you've been staking us out, but it's just top of the show jitters. We're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
We're good.
So what we're going to do here, guys, we talked about how we want you guys to be a part of the show. We want you guys to call us and tell us what you want to see. What does Apple have to do to make this a success for you? We also want to throw you a little curveball, all right? So what I have here, this is a Seagate wireless Wi-Fi hard drive. It's 1 terabyte. It retails for $200. The contest that we have going on during the show is that if you call, you do have to ask us a real pertinent question, but if you can say WWDC 5 times fast without flubbing, we're going to give this to you. Now, we're going to do an impromptu test in our room to see how everyone does. Molly,
Do I have to?
WWDC 5 times fast.
5 times? Are you going to keep track?
I'm going to keep track. Let's see how you do it. Okay?
WWDC, 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 WWD, damn it. WWD, dang it. WWD, dang
I'm
it.
telling you, this is not easy.
The D is for dang it.
Let's see.
Donald, here. I
got the four.
Ready for this?
Okay. WWDC, WWDC, WWDC,
No,
WWDC.
he didn't even get through two.
Oh,
This is hard, you
Boom.
guys. So everyone at home's like, I could do that. Trust me,
Yeah.
it's harder than
Bring it.
than you think. So we'll have the phone lines open again, 1-900-888-CNET. That's 2638. Also, we have our Twitter live. You guys can send us tweets, and we'll involve them in the show. That's going to be hashtag CNET Live. So we're going to really make this, again, an interactive experience. And we really wanted to, first off, let's just talk about everything that we've been hearing. There's a lot of things, what you can expect to see here at WWDC, and really Tim Cook alluded to it at his the interview at D11 that it's really going to be primarily focusing on iOS 7 and OS 10, and we know that iOS 7 is due for something fresh.
Please.
Something
Dude.
new.
Can we start with a little rant? Like, save me from iOS 6. Seriously. Am I the only one who has an iPhone that will not make it to 1 p.m. without needing a charge? I mean, it's really
That you use it a lot.
No, I've been getting a lot of tweets about this. There's some like that, the software, and I'm not just saying this as a personal rant. The software is due for a refresh on many levels, not the least of which are that the last couple of issues have had notable bugs. The Exchange server bug, some data usage problems, some battery usage problems. So not only are we going to be watching for an update, but we're going to be watching for an update that's rock solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will
As
say,
opposed to some of
Brian
the
Tong
recent
saved me from my battery life on my iPhone when he called out the fact that the updated Google Now app and the Google Search app was draining my iPhone 5 battery life to all heck because of the navigation services.
Yeah.
But even then,
I don't have that though.
even then,
So
like
busted.
it shouldn't, like an app like that shouldn't be able to break an OS or cut your battery life in half. Just, Apple should have better, services. To
I mean,
build
we've
with.
And
talked
these
about
are
it.
just part of, these are just part of the kind of, the issues that people are watching for with Apple because they're coming into this keynote from a point of perceived weakness in the market. They've
Yeah.
had some stock issues. People are not, the confidence is not, consumer confidence indexes, indices
Molly
are not
Woods.
as high as they have
Yeah.
been.
So let's take a look. What we have here is we'll pull up and we'll get your guys' calls. We filled up the lines quite quickly with that contest. we're already locked in.
Really?
All 5 lines
People
are
are like,
locked in.
I can do
I
this.
can do that. So we're going to talk about, at least show you a little bit of what we have going on at WWDC. We have an exterior shot
Ooh.
of what's going on outside right now. We have our cameras out there. So that is Moscone West. This is where the event is going to take place. This is where the keynote is going to take place. You kind of see the typical Apple logo up top, lines outside. But
Which is not there all the time.
well, people started camping right when they start rolling
they
that
do
little
choose
Apple
this
logo
location because that Moscone West looks like a giant Apple store. It's just an
really
Apple logo
does.
away from looking like a giant Apple
Well,
sign.
and in fact, there is the logo, and man, it is almost indistinguishable. Although it's almost indistinguishable to the untrained. Just call and say indistinguishable 5 times fast. Do that.
That's gonna be pretty tricky, honestly. I won't
To
even
the
try.
untrained eye, sure, but the true Apple fanatic would be like, those corners are not squared off to exact specifications.
It's got the rounded app icon corners. It's fine.
So for those of you that have been following
It's a
along, if you
squircle.
guys want to see what it looks like inside, we have some pictures posted of at least kind of some of the designs, because these are going to give us some cues of what we kind of expect to see a little bit in iOS 7. And so you have that's a picture of inside Moscone West. That's OS 10, right, with that big X logo. They're going for this thinner Helvetica font. It's we kind of like to call it the skinny jeans. The skinny jeans look. Apple is going skinny jeans for iOS 7 and OS 10 now.
They are. Look at that.
Clean and flat. We saw that in their WWDC actual logo. But overall, I think a lot of people are talking about iOS 7, right? Everyone, behind the scenes and people that have worked on the project at Apple that I've talked to, they're genuinely excited. They're amped about it, but all they say is, it's awesome, you'll see, right? Everyone there's going to say that when they work there.
Right.
Other people have said that it might be a little polarizing.
It's awesome.
What we
I'll be fired if I tell you anything. It's probably
exactly.
the understood underlying statement there.
I feel like out of all the events that we've done in a while, this is one of the ones that has actually been kept more secretive in the past compared to others. We haven't seen a bunch of leaked screenshots of iOS 7. We haven't seen really a peep out of OS 10, and it at least you they have to catch up.
Yeah,
we know they're behind.
I was just thinking about this the other day. Like this, maybe they're being too secretive. Like maybe under Tim Cook.
What are you talking
maybe
about?
under Tim Cook.
What are you talking about?
They've gotten a little bit too good at keeping secrets, because there's like no one even knows what to expect. That might be awesome. I mean, if we're all kind of grabbing at straws with the idea of like iRadio and wristwatches, it's like give us something to actually like seed our enthusiasm for what's going to happen.
I have a feeling that what that points to is the fact that this is not surprisingly going to be a very software heavy event with no new hardware, because hardware anymore is the thing that you can't keep secret. That is the supply chain where you've got issues, where you have leaks, where you have a million different ways
our friends
for
in China
to get out. Our friends in
what's
China.
What's up, my brothers
Thanks
and
for
sisters in
hooking us
China?
up. Exactly.
My homies in China. I love you for that. That's good stuff.
Thanks for hooking us up all the time with the good leaks, because that is the only way to get information now. I think if it's software only and it's all this in-house development, I mean, that more than anything points to the fact that if you were hoping for iPhone 5S or iPad doodly blob, it's probably not going to happen today.
That said, software is something that Apple has not been able to really get a lot of traction on and get people excited about. I mean, you still say I work around here, and it's met with like, okay.
I agree. I mean, I think that's partly why this is a little bit of a scary keynote for them, because frankly, the software development has not been, I mean, post-Maps debacle, you can see that really exposed the fact that, so far they've been able to make things that are pretty and usable, but as they try to sort of keep up with some of the really amazing software developments, I mean, you got to point back to that Google I/O keynote a few weeks ago and say, man, they have some technical chops.
Absolutely.
And Apple is really probably feeling the heat.
All right, guys. So just quickly with an overview, right? We talked about OS 7, Mac OS 10. Hardware-wise, the Apple Store is down. So if you go to store.apple.com and you're hoping to buy like a USB adapter for Ethernet or something like that,
lightning cable,
you are in trouble. Lightning cables might go up after this keynote. No, but so the Apple Store is down, which a lot of the rumor mills have said we're probably expecting to see MacBook Pro, Retina, and MacBook Air refreshes. That's subtle stuff, processor bump upgrade using the new Intel Haswell processor chipset. That's going to be more efficient from a power standpoint. So we're expecting to see that. No word or rumblings about any iWatch action, any Apple TV action. Now, they could surprise us, but all indications, at least around the buzz and the swell in the tech rumor world, has indicated that we won't see that at all. But another software thing that we expect to see also is Apple's launch of iRadio. And so we'll look at that. What's up, guys? Okay, guys. So we have Scott Stein, our wearables editor extreme, on our guest line, and we're going to take him right now. And he's that's actually not him live. I can assure you that. But
he's taking a long sip. He's like,
taking a long sip.
He's a coffee drinking man.
Scott, what is up, man?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. There's a coffee cup in your mouth in this picture.
You sound so fired up. You're so excited to be at WWDC. Ow!
We're almost trampled. There was a lot of activity coming in. There was a pole knocked over, and I don't know what was going on, but we're seated in here with a lot of leg room. So that's good.
I think they're going to have medical tents for the next one too, for people get trampled on the way into those things.
No those metal pole things tipped over, and I was like, I just hopped over it.
Nice.
Keep strong.
The always professional journalistic crowd at Apple events. Not too excited at all.
No. So, Scott, can you kind of tell us, paint a picture of what's going on inside and what it looks like, and just the overall energy around the event compared to past ones that you've been to?
Sure. So, I think the first song playing was what was the first song? It was Mumford and Sons. Yeah, I Will Wait.
Right.
That's the most important bit of, I don't know why I said that.
You will wait.
It's a message.
I think Tim Cook is up in front. We're talking to a few people. There's the Big Apple logo. People are sitting down. I was just here for Google I/O, so it's like the parallel universe vibe here. I felt a lot more people ran in at the start of this one. But I think from the press side, we're sort of quietly curious about what will happen and what direction this can take. I guess even as Dan Farber had said, what is the magic, or can there be magic here? What's gonna capture people's attention in this? Because it's the first event since October.
Yeah, and also, what is the overall press feeling though? Like for you yourself, are people generally? Dan Farber said, yeah, that's the big question. But are your peers? How are they feeling when you guys talk about this? Because I'll just tell you right now, personally, I'm actually excited to see what they have, because this is a make it or break it thing for Apple, right? This is going to lead up to how it affects the rest of their device launch for 2013. Even if it looks really pretty, it has to do more than that. But what are your peers saying?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think people range from either being cautiously quiet to being excited. I think that the excited part, you're right, is about is this the kickoff to as the first 2013 event? Is this the beginning of a mission statement for what's to come? Are we going to get some idea of what's happening next? And just breaking the silence about what's going on now, really with Apple and products and software. So I think that's exciting, but it's not it's not like we have any really big rumors afoot about anything really exciting or crazy that you feel might rear its head here. In fact, it's been pretty quiet on that front.
Do you feel like, there's a comment in our live blog right now, which I think is probably indicative of the way that the world is feeling. One commenter says, Brian, Apple's getting a little bit boring. It's not quite as exciting. He says, as Samsung or HTC, or I got to throw in there even Google. What do you think, Scott? What would you have to see to come out of here and be like, wow, they nailed it?
Well, I think you'd have to see something that reaches for the stars more. The thing is, hardware has been taking a very well-working, polished, and maybe safer approach in terms of design. You don't see a lot of changes with MacBooks. You don't see a lot of changes with even in design from year over year for where the iPad's been and where it's going. I think if it comes to Macs, how much can you really do with the hardware unless you're going in the Windows 8 direction, which Apple's not, and in terms of fusing types of products. And if you're not doing that, then on the software end, I think you got to look at something that's going to begin to blend maybe OS 10 and iOS more, or on the iOS side, you've got so many capable smart devices, maybe not so many capable fantastic tablets, but there are a lot out there. But phones, a huge amount. How is Apple going to answer back there, I think, is a really big and interesting question. Not to mention cloud services and all that other stuff.
Yeah, that was the one I was going to ask you about, because I feel like if there's anything that Apple has kind of, in my opinion, failed to nail at this point, it's that cloud services stuff, because iCloud has not really turned out to be what people were hoping it would be. It's not a true cloud service in the way you might expect.
Yeah.
What are you hoping to see there?
I'm really hoping an admission of a desire to do more and then doing it. If it's first of all taking all of your content and putting it up there, but also maybe integrating more with other services that you like. If they're not going to do it themselves, then having it play really nicely with other integrated cloud services. Something that you walk away from here and feel like this is really caught up and become something that you're excited to start using. Because I agree that the consensus feel with iCloud right now is challenged.
Yeah.
It's a challenged service, and that's being nice about it.
Yeah.
It's not quite ping level, but it's got problems.
All right.
I mean, I use it all the time, but there are issues that pop up, and it's a matter of what it chooses to do and not do that's non-negotiable, and that's the really hard part with iCloud. It's it doesn't do that, and you can't tweak anything. There's nothing going on. It does it or it doesn't.
Yep. All right, Scott. Well, thanks for calling in and everything and letting us get a little bit of your brain and insight of what's happening. So enjoy the live blog. Now, all you guys that are watching right now, we have our live video coverage. We also have a live blog that Scott Stein and other editors are a part of, so they'll be doing kind of play-by-play and commentary on top of that. So we'll see that. So, Scott, thanks for calling in, and we'll talk to you soon, buddy, okay?
Yeah, thanks.
Good luck out there.
Stay safe.
Hey, thank you. We're all lined up here. We got Dan and Jason and Josh.
All right.
Hey, everyone.
So, when you say stay safe, that's important because he said people were trampled. I have to imagine Scott Stein was one of those tramplers.
Well,
not a tramp.
No.
No.
A trampy. He's a trampler.
I've
He's
been
still
there
on the phone.
before.
He's like, I can hear you.
I know
right
what
now.
it's like, man.
That is not true.
They have, it's like a garage door.
Yeah.
They raise this garage door, and it's
like peeping their head down.
It's
right?
an opening of the gates, and the bloggers whose lifeblood are these events that wait all year for it. They are rushing to get to the front to be able to shoot photos and get as close as they can because it's like these events are like make or break for the smaller blogs.
Yeah.
And if they,
So you're saying in so
ouch.
many ways that other outlets are a little hungrier. They hungry.
I'm
You
just
see Fast
saying
Furious 2,
with
they
the
hungry.
with the quality crew that we've got on the ground there, we can afford to take our time and find our seats. We don't have to go trampling people to get into the front row. But I understand the impulse though. I mean, if you're
all
living
coming
for
out right
this.
now.
Donald, you trampled me
It's
through the
all
door.
coming out
I'm just
right
giving
now.
you insight into what's going on, man. I've been there. I've
pushed
seen
me.
the hunger in the eyes.
No,
You
it
pushed
is
me
really
out of the
true.
way to get into this room this morning.
I
What are
have
you talking about?
often said that the bounds of journalistic professionalism are stretched to the breaking point and beyond at WWDC.
Well,
At
especially
any Apple keynote.
when I hear
you
Scott
look around,
Stein-
you're just like, really?
When I hear Scott Stein say that Tim Cook was actually mingling in the front of the room too, that was something
That's
Yeah,
weird.
that's not common.
unheard of.
Yeah, that's really new.
I do remember when the time that Steve Jobs got back from got back on his feet from the cancer treatment, the first round, or whatever the round it was for him at that point. But there were so many people who were eager to see him back, and he mingled in the audience. I remember afterwards, and I saw him speaking with what's his buddy, New York Times buddy,
Walt Mossberg.
Mossberg, yeah.
All things D. So we have people on the phone lines. They've been waiting for quite a long time. Noah has been locked in for 27 minutes.
Dude.
Practicing.
Should we talk to him?
Yeah,
Should we talk to Noah?
before I even got here, man.
Okay, here we go. Let's go. Noah, what's up from the NYC?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. Now, you're here. You're here to ask us a question, but you're also here for our little WWDC tongue twister, right? You heard about that?
Yes.
Okay, you're easy. So, Noah, let's get
He
your
sounds
question
not
first,
confident.
man. What's up?
All right. Well, will Siri finally get as good as Google Voice Search and come out of beta?
Let's go around the table with our thoughts. You could start first.
Definitely not.
I don't think that with the access Google has to data that Apple does not, I don't think that they're going to be able to get the same level of quality answers out of Siri. Maybe she can innovate in some other way, have a sexier voice at some
Maybe.
point.
I think that what it comes down to also is the actual underlying technology,
Yeah.
the roots of Siri and how it's been built from the ground up is fundamentally different from what Google Voice does, right? Siri captures your entire sentence and then sends it to a server and processes it. With Google Voice, when they do a voice search, it's breaking down each word at every stop and point and building that as it goes along. So fundamentally, that just how it's built and how it searches is going to be different. Maybe Apple can surprise us. I think everyone, if you haven't figured it out already, that Google has the advantage in that space. So last year, all they did with Siri was showed off, you can now do movies, sports scores,
Right.
and restaurants. They didn't improve it. They didn't change the algorithm, which people were complaining about.
And
They just
again-
added a little lipstick on
And
it.
it's just that it's that philosophy, right? Google says, look, we want this to be absolutely useful, so it's search.
Right.
It's not a built-in function that uses its own little database of information that is carefully curated by Apple because they've determined that these are probably the things you're going to want to do with it.
Right.
It's like, hey, it's a direct access line from your voice, and their voice recognition is stellar and I think cannot be touched, to the internet, not an intermediary. So that if you're looking for information, it's a two-step process to find that information because you're like, no, you know what, Siri, you don't know. And I know you don't know, so just go to search the web, for God's sake. Siri, please, I beg you.
Do you want me to search the web?
Maybe.
Yes.
Search the web, Siri. Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm sure that they're working all the time on improving the voice recognition specifically. That would make a huge difference all on its own.
Mm-hmm.
But until they're willing to kind of say, look, what people want is access to the web and most likely Google. as long as they're trying to disintermediate by creating their own database of information, it's still going to be too clunky.
Yeah, I think that what Apple could do is do a better job at making Siri operate the phone in more specific ways and deeper ways. So like if I wanted if I wanted Siri to not just pull up Netflix, but pull up a certain show that I like a lot on Netflix, the actual full integration of iOS and the apps and the developers' enthusiasm for actually deeply using all the different tools they have in iOS into their apps could get you that.
Yeah.
You know, in a way that maybe Android is not going to be able to touch because of the more open nature of their operating system. But we'll see if they'll even do that.
Yeah, I mean, at the bottom line, I think Apple can make it better, but we're all here skeptical because Google's voice search is so good. It's ridiculous, right? Apple can improve it, but it's really pretty ridiculous. So we'll see how they do. Noah, do you use Siri yourself?
Yes.
What do you think about it? Because some people like it, some people don't.
It's been tripping up really bad lately.
Yeah.
I agree. I feel like it's almost gotten worse. Although I should point out that someone on Twitter just reminded me, thank you, Shamel, that Apple just bought a company called Grokr, which that is rumored to be the kind of thing that could help them improve Siri. That it's a startup that does predictive search, and predictive search is almost exactly what makes Google's search so good. Google's Now search so good because they, like you said, are predicting it word by word. So if they just did it, right? 6 days ago.
And they showed an even better version of their voice recognition that has yet to be implemented, it truly into their OS right now that we saw at Google I/O. So, and considering
that Apple just bought Grokr, or at least the news about it came out 6 days ago, I would be surprised if you're going to see any significant improvements now. And unfortunately, even if they get this Grokr tech integrated a year from now, they're still pretty far behind.
It has its benefits, right? The scheduling and reminders that actually does work pretty well, but for overall, it's a little behind. So Noah, we want you to clearly see this. This is a Seagate Wireless Plus. This is the hard drive to get. I'm just telling you. I'm not even messing around, okay? WWDC. I can't even say it. Say it 5 times fast. We're going to judge for our ears and see if you can do this. And it has to be fast, not slow, okay?
Should we give him a 3, 2, 1?
I'll let him. Noah, just give it to us, man.
All right.
WWDC, 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 WWDC.
I heard a flub on the third one, guys.
Also, that was only 4.
Yeah.
You stopped at 4, and you flowed a good try, buddy. Good try.
You set the bar pretty high.
You really did.
We still love you, man, but thanks for calling, all right?
Can I ask one more question by chance there?
Yeah, go for it. Let's see what's up.
iOS is supposed to get resigned. Do you think OS X will get a few design cues from that?
Yeah, I think overall with Johnny Ive at the helm, this is his first time of really being able to see the hardware and the software. Now, he won't have as much influence over OS X as he's really more focused on the mobile OS, but we've got to imagine we're going to see a flatter design even on the OS X side. That font looks like that skinny font we call the skinny jeans font. That's going to be pretty much probably ubiquitous across their products. So we will see different things for sure, but Johnny Ive will have some of his influence on that. Okay?
All right, OS X names? Yeah.
All right. Thanks for calling, Noah.
Right. Bye, Noah.
All right, we're going to take Richard now here. Richard, what's going on? Richard.
Are you there, Richard?
Okay, I'm going
to... He, fell asleep.
Oh,
you're awake.
He's alive.
Good morning.
Richard, what's your question? How you doing? Thanks for calling in, man.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. What is, eating at you right now? What do you want to talk about?
I want to basically talk about, is Apple ready for an iOS makeover, and would it make its way over to the Mac design?
Yeah, similar question to that Noah just asked. I think definitely. I mean, if anything, those images that you've already seen of the Skinny Jeans X, like Brian's mentioned, are substantially different. I mean, look, I'm worried that what we're mainly going to get today is a facelift, but I think there's no question that we're going to get a pretty significant facelift, and it's probably going to be surprising and controversial.
Yeah.
I also have to say, I think right now that one of the sleeper technologies is laptop design, laptop OS. I feel like the laptop industry outside of MacBooks is having a really hard time right now, trying to get people interested in either hybrid Windows 8 laptops or laptop tablets that or convertibles and all that other stuff. I feel like if there's the mobile industry is really hot right now. If there's a way to reinvent the laptop industry and Apple can do anything with that, either by OS or by hardware design, they could probably, score pretty big.
Yeah, you know what? The funny thing is, I mean, I know this is going to be a hardware show and whatever, but I feel like touchscreen laptops from Apple are long overdue.
I hope so.
I want them. You think we're going to see that today? Like, I mean, it really does sound like a MacBook Pro and a MacBook Air refresh. And I just, that would be cool. That would really push the envelope.
It's still really kind of cheesy a little bit.
Come on.
Yeah.
Richard's like, that's cheesy.
Buzzkill.
That's cheesy.
I'm with Richard, but I do think that if they can make OS 10 look like dramatically different. I mean, it already looks dramatically different from what Windows 8 is, but also just get people excited about a desktop OS again. I think that would be a miracle in this day and age.
Yeah.
And Apple could probably do it.
Okay, Richard, we're going to give you a chance to win this hard drive. Can you do it, my man? WWDC 5 times fast. You're up.
WWDC, 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 WWDC,
Dub-a-dub does not count.
Dub-a-dubs.
You can't dub-a-dub step.
You got to get a U in there.
You got to W it.
W-W-do. Dub-a-dub-dub.
Good try, though.
Good try.
Good speed. I like the speed on that.
The speed was very nice. Thanks for calling, Richard. Okay, guys, I just wanted to also, when we talk about the redesign of iOS 7, I'm getting all my iOSs mixed up. What I have here is this is an article that came out this morning called What iOS 7 Looks Like. And what it was is that 9to5Mac, who's been all over the rumor mills, they have claimed that they've been able to actually see a version of early beta version of iOS 7. Now, these are not the exact icons, but basically their editor who was able to see it then said, okay, we're going to recreate these best to our ability of what kind of the flatter look of OS 7 looks like. So this is an example of some of the icons and how they've changed kind of that polished 3D look. We have their photo icon, if that is really a color wheel. They've been talking about rumors of how the photo application filters and ways of sharing it will be much more improved in iOS 7. I mean, that's not a game changer per se, but that's there's their music logo, changes colors, also a lot flatter design and a lot of different gradients and thinner fonts.
Now, one benefit of the flatter design could be more than just aesthetic, right? I mean, we've talked about part of this being a performance, an attempt at better performance, that they may be flatter and also not so heavy, not so design intensive, less flash, more performance. And, I mean, if these are flattened out icons that don't have to render in some big 3D shadow gradiated thing, and they don't have to animate all the time, and it's just like super freaking fast and less battery intensive, then we're talking a decent facelift.
Does it really take that much processor power aren't the images just kind of flat like JPEG picture images?
Well, they are, but they animate. No, but they animate, and they animate in and out. I'm just saying, like, if they flattened out the design in efficiency ways as well, maybe it's just that I'm so mad about my battery life right now. I'm just like, literally anything, any tiny freaking thing that you can do to make that battery last, like, I don't know, a whole day.
Yeah.
I can tell that battery thing is bothering you today.
It is, but there's a lot. But that's software. Those are
I
all
think
software
that
things.
the bigger thing is going to do is give people what feels like a new phone. I think that's what people are. I've heard time and time again is people are just kind of sick of the iOS that's been staring back at them for like the last 5 years.
It has been. It is. You get a new, like
6
you get
years.
a brand new phone.
I think,
and you're like, ooh, a new phone, and it just looks just like the old phone.
Last year was the hardest because everyone thought they'd see something different, and it really pretty much stayed the same.
Yeah,
and that's why everyone's been really eager about this. We're gonna take Asver's call. Asver, what's going on? Asver, are you there?
Yes.
Hello. Oh, turn us down.
Okay, quick thing, guys. When you call in, you need to turn down the volume of your computer so that we don't hear you in the background, and then you can talk to us like, we're hanging out in the same room.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I turned it down.
So, Asver, what's your question today?
Yes, I'm so pumped about this event, by the way. But I was just wondering, even though with the limited knowledge that we have now about our iOS 7, do you guys think that because Apple waited so late to make these significant changes, that it might happen what happened to Microsoft, that the changes are so significant and so radical that people might have a hard time getting used to it right away?
Yeah, so, kind of the question being, is this going to be polarizing? Is this going to be polished enough? One of the points,
button?
One of the things that he brings up really, though, is the fact that, right, they changed their leadership on iOS. Scott Forstall was pushed out or agreed to leave, however you want to look at it. But that was only about 9 months ago. And so Johnny Ives gets his fingerprints on the new OS, and it really has about 9 months, which is a real crunch from a timetable standpoint to get an OS completely redone and revamped. That takes a lot of time and resources. They were pulling people from other teams to help out with that, to get it ready for WWDC. Here's an image. This is a video that you guys are seeing here. This is from Simply Zesty, and based on a lot of the information that was going out around there, they kind of created this fun little mock-up of the potential of what OS 7 could look like. Just a little eye candy for you guys.
That's straight up Windows Phone. Look at that.
They could give you a little eye candy.
But you know what? I think you're absolutely right that it is likely to be, like I was saying earlier, it is likely to be a dramatic refresh in terms of design. And I suspect it will be controversial. I mean, it always is, right? And people, as much as you say that you're tired of the same old thing over and over, like, you know, if iOS is like oatmeal and you've had oatmeal every single day for breakfast for the last 6 years, the day that you get like a spinach omelet, you might be excited, but a little bit like, I miss my oatmeal.
Yeah.
I oatmeal.
I feel like Apple has historically shown that they make really good decisions when it comes to design, and that they make very slow, iterative decisions when it comes to design. So I don't think that they're going to do something like so radical that it might be alienating without it having gone through like months of test grouping and to figure out if people are going to how people are going to feel. But I don't think there's going to be anything today that's going to be as dramatic as like them yanking Google Maps out of their OS, you know, as far as riots in the street go.
No, I mean, just looks.
Yeah.
Like,
Google Maps comes
really
back. Now that would be. But Asper, you're going to say one more thing?
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, in any case, I'm very excited because, like you said, I mean, it's been kind of stale environment for Apple so far. So I'm excited for any changes that are coming to us. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and while we're on the phone, guys, just because we actually want to get your pulse of what you guys think, send us a tweet with the hashtag CNET Live. We want to know if you guys are actually excited about this keynote. Are you meh, or you don't care? I'm curious just the overall sense of what people out there are feeling about this keynote, because we've got mixed opinions here in this room.
Absolutely.
And I want to see what you guys think. So send us your hashtag at CNET Live. We will read your tweets, show them on screen as long as they are not naughty. And we will put them on here. So Asper, you got one more. You got a chance to take this hard drive home. You know what the contest is? WWDC
all right.
5 times fast. He's ready. He's like, all right, let's go. Let's hear what you got. We will be the judge.
All right. WWDC, 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 WWDC.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I feel pretty good.
Honestly, Asper, that was
really
pretty
good.
Yeah.
So,
all right, I'm glad I impressed you guys.
I know. You like rendered us speechless. We're like,
like,
well, I didn't see that coming at all.
Okay, Asper, what we're going to do is stay on the line. We're going to put you on hold. Christina will talk to you, get your information. But this is $200 Seagate Wireless Plus Drive, Wi-Fi hard drive, talks to 3 different devices at the same time, like on a plane, and has 10 hours of juice.
That's awesome.
No, this is the truth. This
Can
is
I
my
try,
favorite.
That
Can
is a really good drive.
Can I try again at the contest?
This is the truth. So, Asper, thanks for calling in. We appreciate it, buddy. All right?
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
Now tell all your friends to watch the stream, all right?
And you know what? I just want to...
We'll do.
Yeah, totally. Tell your friends. And then just a quick programming note for those of you who are watching the stream. I've had some tweets asking if there is a chat room. I am in the good old CNET fans chat room. So if you're on IRC, fire up irc.geekshed.net. I recommend XChat on a PC or Colloquy on a Mac. And then we're in the CNET fans chat room. So it's just like another little back channel.
A little bit in the back.
And I got to say, the entire, like, original Buzz crowd is all there. We've got Tails, Icor, Engineer Chick, Kenoy, Savit. Like, they're all there. Curtis B is there. It's outstanding.
Okay, let's we'll take
Tap
a screen
shoes.
grab of my thing to talk about what we asked you about. Are you hyped up? Are you about WWDC? We've got some here. This one coming from Keith Briosos. If you guys take my screen here. CNET Live, I'm excited about WWDC. Even if it's 1 a.m. here in the Philippines, I'm going to stay up.
Nice.
Juiced. Brennan Spark, really excited for iOS 7. It's a make or break for Apple. Couldn't agree with you more. I think this is... See, one of the hard things is people don't know what is cool or what they like to see until they see it, right? So Apple has this whole challenge of people like, I want to see something cool. But they don't. If you ask someone, what do you want to see in iOS 7 that will be cool? They can't tell you.
I think
they really can't. Like, from a visual standpoint,
and I'm going to
right?
qualify. I'm going to say it's a make or break for Apple fans right now. But when you're Apple and you're sitting on a few $1 billion, like I think they have like the Microsoft style parachute plan where they can probably coast for like another decade on that money and try to reinvent themselves.
I gotta say, I know I was traveling last week and I didn't get a chance to write the column, but there were so many stories about Apple's in trouble, and the stock price and the stock. And I thought, I just want to write a little column and say, Apple, just keep doing kind of exactly what you're doing.
Exactly.
Like, it's okay not to be, and it's a hard truth, but it is okay not to be the coolest kid in the world. It's okay to maybe accept that you're not the company that's going to change the world the next 5 times, but you've got a massive war chest of money. You have massive mind share. You are still the go-to, like absolutely the default device for people who don't know what else to buy.
Yeah.
It's all right to be the Honda Civic.
And no one can take away from them what they've done for the
Right.
past 10 years in terms of innovation.
I mean, still, if you
Don't
ask
be the Honda
10
Civic.
people
Don't
on
be
the
the Honda
street-
Civic. Don't be the Honda
Well,
Civic.
no. Okay, be what the Honda Civic was in the 90s, which is kind of what I feel like they are headed toward being the default choice for people. I mean, if you ask 10 people in Times Square, what phone are you going to buy? 2 of them are going to say a Samsung Galaxy, and the other 8 are going to say iPhone. I mean, they just are. They're still there, you know, and the Galaxies, the Samsungs, there are other. I'm not saying there's not competition. Of course there is. You don't have to be completely dominant to still be an unbelievably powerful company. Let's not, like Microsoft, you may dog them all day. They're still an unbelievably powerful company, and I think Apple's in the same boat.
They've pretty much slid into that third mobile spot now. They're slowly but surely kind of battling it out with BlackBerry, but in consumers' minds, Windows Phone 8 in general, at least in the tech world, has leapfrogged BlackBerry. Yeah. So this is a company that had no phone whatsoever 2 years ago, and all of a sudden now they're in the 3 position, and they have maybe around, I don't know, how much market share would you guess? 7%?
Not even.
5%?
3?
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm saying there's no dramatic
keep
sudden death for Apple. Yeah. There's no scenario where that happens.
So
I have a pretty exciting prediction actually from Twitter, from Karthik Ashokan, who says, I'm fired up about this. My WWDC 13 prediction: after the keynote, Imagine Dragons will take the stage and perform their hit numbers "It's Time" and Radioactive. Oh my God, I hope so, you guys.
Just went to that concert that was out here.
I didn't go to that concert. I would have. I like them.
All right, guys, let's just look at a couple more tweets and we'll get back to your phone calls just to show you what you guys are talking about. MZ Rodriguez, can't wait. Excited from the PH. Hayden Glover, this iOS will just be looks, but I don't think it's a huge change, so I'm not that excited. But I like Brycey Nix. Called in sick to watch Mollywood, Brian Tong, Donald Bell.
Oh, man.
I'm like, dude, don't tweet
CNET
that.
live.
Like, you know?
CNET live.
I mean, thank you, but maybe you want it Elite Day at day umfray iter tway before your Osses Bay see it.
At least change your name, buddy. I mean, Brycey Nix, that's just a dead giveaway.
Totally.
I know who Brycey Nix is. I know what you look like,
you
man.
know everybody can see Twitter, right?
All right, let's go hit up the phone lines. We're going to take out Todd in Chi-Town. Hey, what's up, Todd? What's going on?
Nothing much. We're just watching the show.
Are you having a good time or what?
We're having a great time.
Not as much as a good time because this is no longer on the table, huh?
Bummer.
No more hard drive.
I bet you would have killed it, too.
Okay, Todd, what's your question?
Okay, we were wondering if you guys are still going to have, not you guys, sorry, if Apple's going to have the same looking iOS operating system, but instead the icons are more flat.
Okay, so you're basically saying, are they just basically changing the icons but fundamentally keeping the operating system the same with functionality? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Let's go around the table, everybody.
Like a facelift only Facebook. Holy Freudianness.
Facebook Home?
What do you guys think?
No, I think it's going to be primarily a facelift, but not only a facelift. I think we're definitely going to see some functionality.
Yeah,
change.
especially coming after of Google I/O.
Like
they can't just do a wallpapering of the phone and call it a day.
I think more than anything, Johnny Ive has his own ideas of how OS should look and function, and they've alluded to the fact that they're going to marry it with some of these new hardware designs that are coming down the line. If we'll see what that hardware looks like, because all indications say it just another, an iPhone 5S is the same iPhone 5, but I think with Ive at the helm, he has to really put his fingerprint on this, and it's going to function differently, and that's why there's rumblings that it's dramatically different from a functionality standpoint. I don't know if it's going to be dramatically different from other competitors, but it might be dramatically different compared to what Apple has. So that'll be interesting to see how that all plays out.
And a really good point from our chat room, Curtis B says, Tim Cook even mentioned that they're going to open up more APIs to developers. So that could open the door for things like different keyboards. Mm-hmm. I mean, Android fans are in love with their Swift key. Mm-hmm, that would be, to me, that would be a sea change. If they said, hey, we redesigned the OS, and they'd be like, oh, okay.
Right.
But also, we're actually going to let developers make significant changes. Honestly, if we came out of this with more granular control, if, for example, I got a dashboard that actually let me see which apps are using data, if we got, APIs that allowed developers to take advantage of the location services or to maybe do a little more multiprocessing.
Like, you know what, guys, you want to junk up your home screen with widgets, just go for it. Here you go.
I know. Well, and widgets are a good point. Apple could do their own widgets, and that would be super useful. You know,
I think even if Apple does what everyone has already done, and people have been begging for it from Apple with a new fresh look, I think that will satisfy the fans. Yeah. Some of those higher end users. So yeah, what's up?
Yeah. So also, I was wondering, do you guys think that we'll see a new hardware product, especially that Apple stores down currently?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like there's a good chance, I think as we talked about earlier, that we'll probably see some new laptops at least, right?
Yeah, I think
that might be it. That might be it, though.
But I think that could be it. You know what I'm curious about is we haven't seen an update of in 1 million years, the Mac Pro.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly.
I wonder if we could see a tower update, because that is something that people were very disappointed they didn't get last year, because those towers are really still important to that professional core Apple user. And we haven't seen any kind of an update for video editors and for photographers in quite a long time. So I'm thinking, for me, the dark horse here.
Your wild card? That's a good wild card.
My wild card is desktop.
And
you didn't see that coming, did you?
And Tim Cook has talked about how some of the iMacs are now being manufactured here in the States too. Maybe they feel to control the product line a little bit more by manufacturing locally.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the MacBook Pro is the Mac Pro is a good dark horse. There hasn't been any rumblings of it. Tim Cook said that we would see something by the second half of this year. Mm-hmm. He publicly said that actually right after WWDC last year. People complained what's going on with the Mac Pro,
and
he
really
had
mad.
To at least talk about the fact that they are still working on it and it'll be in the second half of this year. So maybe they leak it out early. We haven't seen any indications that they have one, from the factory side or the supply chain side. So,
I know, but they should. Today, this would be a good point to do it. To really throw a bone to not only the developers, but the pros that have made Apple what it is.
And it's something Google doesn't do.
I mean, they could just drop the iWatch on us.
That's not going to happen.
Todd's like, yes,
let's do that.
And I was like,
all right, thanks for calling, Todd.
Thanks,
random
Todd.
interesting tidbit. I don't know if it's really a tidbit or not, but talking to friends that work there, my gut sense, I don't know what you guys think. I think they're going to come out with the iWatch before the Apple TV.
Oh, you know what? I've been saying this now for 2 years, and I continue to say it. I don't think there will ever be an Apple TV.
Really? I think there will.
I mean, literally for 2 years, I've been like, not gonna happen.
There will be. But Tim Cook talked about it so much at D11.
Stupid.
They're gonna do an Apple TV.
No.
Yeah, I feel like I understand Molly's hesitation because it's such a it would be such a big product that if it flopped, it would be you would not be able to sweep that under the rug.
Plus, television is old technology at this point. Unless you can really push it forward and all that. The weird rumors now are just that's part of the reason that they're floundering. They can't figure out how to nail this Apple TV thing. The deals are really hard.
Content deals.
Unless you can put out a truly integrated internet-connected TV with every content deal that has so far proved impossible for everyone to pull off, you're just doing a TV. And it's going to be so expensive. I mean, I just don't. And, an internet-connected TV to that extent with a built-in kind of box just still has that old school problem of being basically a TV with a VCR built in. If it's not updatable, I don't know. I just don't. I feel like that's such a tricky product, and it's a commodity product.
They have so many challenges, obviously, but I still think they're going to do it because they've had it on their sites since the Steve Jobs era, and I think ultimately it's going to come out. Now, we don't know none of us here know what it's going to look like or what it's really going to do. We know what everyone else has tried and hasn't been successful with, so we'll see what happens.
Icor in the chat room just said the Apple TV will be called the iWatch. And officially, Jay Hitt says in the chat room, and I don't know if this is true or not because there's a lot of asterisks before and after, but he says Marissa Mayer reportedly is at the keynote.
Ooh.
Oh, that supports some of the rumblings of more deeper Yahoo integration in iOS 7, and Yahoo already supports shows off their weather. What other stuff? Stocks are fed into there. So if there's a tighter integration,
could this be a sign of widgets too? I mean, I would love to see some Apple home screen widgets. Darius Sanchez on Twitter.
Oh, come on. She didn't go there.
Darius on Twitter, responding to our earlier conversation, says, I'm seriously hoping for some home screen customization in iOS 7. I'm tired of relying on jailbreaking. And that, to me, has been an ongoing crime that Apple commits against its users. You shouldn't have to jailbreak your phone just to customize. A lot of times, all people want to do is add widgets or tweak the design a little bit or, put a better background or whatever it is. And in order to do that, you basically have to void your warranty. That's just silly.
Yeah.
Let people customize.
Yeah.
I also want to say I thought you were going to go with the Melissa Mayer thing, that maybe she was there to represent female executives that Apple doesn't have.
Nice.
a little girl power action over there.
Ouch. They're like, oh, we need a lady.
Can someone call
Where
Marissa
can we get
Meyer?
one of those? Can someone call Marissa Meyer?
All right, let's go to the phone lines. We've got Evan over in Buffalo. Evan, what's up, man?
How much? How about you, dude?
Good, dude. I'm good, dude. I like that.
Dude.
So, what's your question?
I'm stoked that you're here right now.
Evan's been waiting for like 40 minutes. Evan,
Oh my God,
we got
dude.
you.
Yeah, I've
You're
been
the man.
holding on to a full bladder for this.
Oh.
Wait.
Hey, you and me both.
You
Though.
know,
You're not the only one.
Let's take a real long time with this call and just play like sound effects of waterfalls and rivers.
Come
on.
So, Evan, what's your question, bro?
Well, I heard you guys talking about your APIs and stuff like that, and I think one of the things that I really want is to be able to really have that speech recognition built in, but not have to use dictation or something like that. Be able to actually just use your the speech API. I heard a bunch of rumors talking about how Apple uses Nuance's Dragon speech and stuff like that, and I don't know if you guys have looked at that, but that stuff is crazy expensive. They have like per user licenses and stuff like that. That's probably why they don't do that now. But I think that'd be a great feature to add.
Yeah.
Better speech recognition overall, or across the
Yeah.
device.
And better dictation.
A better
in general,
dictation,
yeah.
absolutely. It's not. It shouldn't be. It doesn't have to be that expensive. I mean, Google's nailed it. I don't know if you guys have used Google speech recognition, but I compose just about everything on my Google device with my voice. I do all my texting. I do emails. I do all the searches. It is not that tough a nut to crack if you get serious about it. It's just a hard time. At this point, it's just hard to determine like what is Apple serious about. How serious are they about speech? Have they missed that? Did they not quite realize how cool it really could be?
Yep.
Yeah, totally agree. Another thing, just more towards like a facelift and stuff like that. When they released Final Cut Pro 10, I was honestly really disappointed.
Yeah.
Because to me, it just seemed like they took iMovie and gave it a couple more buttons, a couple more effects, and said, all right, here's your new professional video editing software. And it was kind of like, this isn't, I like the old Final Cut Express more than the new Final Cut. So I'd like to see a whole new media update as well. And you guys also said want to see more about your Mac Pro line. Was it the iMac that they were developing in the U.S.? Because I thought they were also doing the Mac Pro.
Yeah, what they said is in a report that the iMac will be the one that's made in the U.S. It'll have some of its parts and components like put together in different states in the U.S., like Florida, Detroit, Illinois, but then it would be assembled in Texas. So that is going to be the homegrown Apple computer. They said they're going to start off with one model first and then potentially, expand after that. But that's, from a Mac Pro side, they didn't allude to anything like that. I think they're just trying to at least claim that this is America iMac. It's the Amuramac.
Amuramac.
It's Amuramac.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
So
and the last thing, I think another thing I'd really like to see. I don't know if you guys obviously probably use the Facebook app. They have that nice little navigation thing on the side. I'd like to see a native, and there's no way that I think there's no way there's not going to be one of those native sidebar navigation things, because that thing's all over the place.
Evan, if they put one in there, hit me up on Twitter. We'll get you something. We're gonna, if you're like a future teller right now, if you're a future teller, we're gonna reward that. Okay.
Okay. You got my Twitter account, Amp?
You got it. You got to hit me up. You got to hit me up. Okay, guys. You know what? I like where Evan was going. We want to get some more of your calls, but we're about 10 minutes out from the keynote. It's going to start at 10 a.m.
I'm hearing that they have started their live streaming.
Okay, is it just kind of like that background?
They may have opened their stream with the background. So just FYI,
Okay.
but that's a good point. It's a good moment to point out that we will be streaming that keynote to you, right?
Yes.
We're going to have that live stream. So we're not going to talk through the whole thing.
No.
You don't have to open a separate tab or go on over to the Apple page. We'll deliver that keynote and then come back for analysis after. But we'll remain in chat. We'll remain on Twitter.
So once we get that
just
live
FYI,
feed,
you don't have to leave. Don't leave.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere.
Stay on our live blog page and you'll have everything.
Seriously, don't you guys want to talk to us after the show?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Because it's going to be good.
You're going to go anywhere else? No, you're not.
No.
So once we get that live feed going, we'll just have it playing under while we're talking before the actual keynote starts. But with all the phone calls coming in, tell us what you want to see in iOS 7, right? Evan kind of dropped like, I want to see this. I want to see that. I want to see a little bit of that. So if you guys can call in with what you want to see in iOS 7 or some of the people that are waiting on the line right now, we will take that as well. Let's get to another call here. Waiting patiently. I like this name. Roxelle? Is that how you say that from Palm Desert?
Yeah.
What's up, Roxelle?
Hey. I was wondering, how popular do you think iRadio will be?
Interesting.
I've been thinking about that one a lot.
I know. I was going to bring up
tasked
iRadio
with writing
at the right
this
moment.
up afterward. So, I think that what they have going for them is that they have the world's largest digital music store and catalog at their fingertips. It doesn't have to be that successful. If they can just get people to install it and get people as that is like a funnel to people actually buying more music through iTunes, then Apple's going to consider that a success.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a Marketplace interview about this last week where I basically said that I had to inform Marketplace in the world that magical unicorn worlds do not exist, because the only way I think that iRadio could prove to be a killer, right, an absolute killer in a really crowded space, is if they manage to get deals to stream all of the songs from the iTunes catalog, because the iTunes catalog is the biggest in the world. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But unless they can stream all those songs, they still have the same problem as Pandora, Spotify, and Google Music, or whatever the heck that thing is called, which is it's pretty cool, but it's not any better. And so it's not a reason to switch necessarily. And my personal prediction is there's no way in HE Double Toothpicks that they get those deals, because the music industry still wants you to buy those songs for 99 cents.
Well, getting the full streaming music.
Getting the full streaming rights to that entire catalog.
Right.
All indications so far are that they have not managed to get those. So I feel like it will be, kind of as popular as any of the other ones are, which is pretty popular, and I wish that the labels would get on board and realize that they could maybe make money from streaming if they...
From what I've seen, they've done direct deals with the three majors.
Right.
So they've got that covered. And then if the rest of the indies are just going to be kind of blanketed under the same kind of Pandora internet radio licensing structure, they can make it work. I think they'll be able to get a lot of that there. I think the thing that's going to trip it up is what Pandora doesn't get enough credit for, is that the algorithm for choosing music that they think you're going to like is... a lot. It's not like it feels like magic, but there's a lot behind it. And what makes Pandora so popular is that it's consistent. You can turn it on, you can have your favorite stations, and that they do a really good job of not surprising you with crap.
Yeah. And let's also add another point. iRadio is probably going to be platform exclusive, right? Pandora is everywhere on every device. iRadio is probably going to be on your iOS devices. So that's going to limit the audience already. If that's the case, we've talked about at D11, someone asked Tim Cook, will Apple be looking to open up some of their apps and putting them on other platforms? They said where it makes sense that they might do that. They didn't say yes, they didn't say no. But if iRadio wants to have any success outside of just the Apple ecosystem, and if it's just like, oh, we're going to show some love to the Apple community, you have your own streaming service, fine, but it's not going to do anything for it.
Right.
And also, if it really wants to be big, if they even put it on multiple platforms, the whole how is this ad-based, ad-supported model going to work? Pandora, you can pay to get rid of those ads. Is Apple going to also have audio ads that break the flow of the music or not? And will it be free, and how much will it cost? So there's a lot of questions that we'll see how much we actually hear about it, those details. But my gut right now is if it's only obviously an Apple thing, it's just going to stay within the Apple community, and that's about as far as it'll go. So
yeah,
absolutely. Chris B points out, in fact, in the chat room, that's Apple's biggest mistake with things like FaceTime, which they actually said. Remember at the time it was
they said they would open it up.
Right, and our first response was, "Oh, great, another proprietary video conference platform." And then they said, "Oh, we're going to open it up. There's going to be an API. It's going to be multi-platform."
Great example.
And that's never happened.
Great example.
And yeah, exactly. Like to keep it in the. I mean, look, it's long past time for Apple to break out of its ecosystem and to be multi-platform, because that is where they are getting killed by services like Pandora, by things like the Kindle app, which is the best possible ambassador for Kindle hardware, by all of the Google services, which are also great ambassadors for Google hardware. Like it's not going to pay to be so closed off in the future.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take another call. This one comes to us from Frank from Unknown City, parts unknown.
Parts unknown.
Frank, what's up?
Hey.
Hey.
I had a comment on what you wanted to see in iOS.
Yeah,
I'd like
for sure.
to see a better Siri integration.
Yeah.
Like when you're walking, I use my phone like for my iPod when I'm walking. When I get a text message, the text message tone will go off, but then you got to reach up and actually hold the headphone piece in and have it read you the text message, and then you have a chance to reply. I think they should make it so Siri, you can have a setting so you can just set it, and Siri will tell you that you have a text message, and you don't have to touch anything, and give you the option to reply, right from the phone. Whether you're on speakerphone or if you have your headphones in, I think they should make her more integrated and make her able to do more things like that.
Yeah, I think even just the flow of Siri, of how many sometimes steps it takes, like to say, yes, is this a text message you want to send? Yes. Do you want to send it now? Yes. Of course I want to send this thing.
I mean, there are certain things that Siri can do that I wish that Google did. For example, I discovered the other day, so I've been wanting this forever, which is that if you set an appointment using Siri on your calendar, Siri will notify you if you have a conflicting appointment, which is awesome, right? Those are some of the benefits that you get by the fact that Siri only mines that on-phone data as opposed to sort of being connected to the web. There's a great way to integrate all of those awesome benefits and also talk to the friggin' internet. And not have to be so, like, sort of pedantic about all the steps that you have to take.
I mean, clearly Apple knows what else is going on out there. It's just up to them if their philosophies have changed a little bit with Tim Cook at the helm of how they're going to do things. And I have to imagine iOS 7 is going to give us an indication of if their way of thinking has changed a little while keeping a little bit of the SJ culture and kind of craziness in there, but also Tim Cook has seemed to be a little more sensible from a business side. You know, we've seen how they've kind of, it's taken a while for us to get some major refreshes on hardware and software, but he's kind of taking his time, and like Donald alluded to, the fact is, look, and you guys, they don't have to blow things out of the water. Just keep on trotting along, keep steady, and do what they normally do. And maybe one of these next steps is opening up a little bit.
Right. Just baby steps.
That's one of the other things I was going to say, too. I don't want them to be like Windows Phone and try to look like Windows Phone, or the new iOS have a bunch of widgets like Android, because I have an iPhone 5 and I have a Note 2. I love both of them. Actually, one of your guys' tests on the Note 2 actually made me go out and buy the Note 2 when I seen what you put it through and what it could take. You know, I was like, I've got to have that phone because of the big screen and everything. So I like that, but I don't want them. I like the way iOS looks, you know. I mean, I want them to change it a little bit, but I don't want them to, you know, make it look like everybody else. I think the iPhone, it does just work. I don't want them to change it too much, you know, and try to follow the pack. What I would like to see is a bigger screen on the iPhone, though. I don't like the way they flattened out the 5 and just made it a taller 4S. I would like to actually see a bigger screen. I think that will make a difference in the future if they don't make a bigger screen. I mean, I'm an Apple fan. I have been since the iPhone came out. But I think if they don't keep up with the bigger screens, they're going to lose a fan base because people are liking these bigger phones more and more. Like, I'm waiting on the Note 3 to come out. You know, it's with a 6-inch screen possibly. So.
Hey, Frank, we have an opening here at CNET if you want to come
I know.
out.
You are like a pro, dude. You are a pro.
He's all over it. He's all over it.
I totally sold everybody. I was using an unlocked iPhone 4S. I live in Missouri, by the way. It didn't say there, but I'm in Missouri. And I was up here on April 12th when T-Mobile got the iPhone. I was waiting for T-Mobile because I had an unlocked 4S, you know, with the Edge data on there, and I was using it on T-Mobile. I called the T-Mobile store, and I told them about everything the iPhone could do and what Siri could do and everything. They said, I went up there to buy the iPhone. I was standing in line, first one in line. I always am for the iPhone. And they were like, some guy called up here, and he talked to us about the iPhone, and he sold everybody in the store on the iPhone. And my wife's like, that was my husband.
So, Frank, the key question here that we need to rewind back on is, you say you own a Note and you own an iPhone. So which one is real? Note 2. So which one is really your favorite between the two right now?
Yeah, what's your go-to?
Which is your favorite one between the two? That's important. We want to know.
It's the iPhone.
Oh.
The Note
I'm
2
down with that.
is great.
You know what? That doesn't surprise me, though, because he said he was the first guy in line all the time. Like, there's no shocker there.
No. Don't get me wrong. I love the Android. Android does.
Do you want to hang up on him now? No, I'm just kidding, Frank. I'm just kidding, Frank.
It's, you know, I like them both for each reason. I can't say I'm hard either way. I like Android for what it does and the big screen and everything on the Note 2, but like the iPhone, the keyboard rocks on the iPhone. On Android, when you're texting and like you get a word wrong, you have to pick the word. I like how iPhone automatically corrects my misspelled word.
Oh, it corrects a lot of things.
But it corrects even properly spelled words. Like, for example, I would like Apple to really recognize that the word die is a word, and it doesn't have to be changed to for. and the word so is also a word and doesn't have to be changed to do.
Have you ever?
Can we work on that a little bit? The autocorrect.
I've actually reset my keyboard because it started. You know, it picks up on your tendencies of what you write and type, and sometimes it picks up. So I just clean out. Okay, guys.
All right, guys.
It's
10
a.m.
o'clock.
right now.
I know. I'm like, wait a second.
We're
Isn't
gonna
there like a live stream?
Do we have the live stream, guys?
All
okay,
right,
let's go
do
to
it.
10 a.m. time. They're getting set up here.
So we're going to at least show you that. Thank you, Frank, for the call. And then, we'll show you this. And as soon as they start talking, we'll hop on over. I have one good question on Twitter that I want to address really quickly. And the big question is, from the day we met, a newborn vampire. I don't know. Will iOS 7 be on iPhone 4, 3GS, an iPhone 4S? And that is always the huge question: is are they going to say that the processors are too weak for these
always
features?
Leaves a few behind.
Yeah, I mean, the simple question is there are going to be features that you don't get if you're on those older phones. And if even the 4S is left out of some of those new features, expect some angry people, because I feel like the 4S is still such a great phone.
They've been trying to sell that just out the door.
I mean,
it's a good question.
The other thing also is if they come out with this, the rumors of 2 phones, and one of them is kind of the cheaper, more affordable phone.
Yeah.
Well, you've got to imagine that's going to run iOS 7.
Yeah.
You've got to imagine then, therefore, based on the specs of that cheaper, more affordable phone, what previous iPhone aligns with that hardware-wise. Because if they say it only works on the new iPhone and the cheaper iPhone and iPhone 5 and nothing before, people are gonna like throw their phones at someone's head.
You got to figure that right there is a huge part of the reason that they haven't done that cheaper developing market phone. That's a big part of that reason. All right, so we have music now coming from the live stream. We're probably about to get started here.
Okay, it looks like Apple's going to start up, guys, okay?
All right, so we'll watch the keynote with you, and we will be back. We'll be back to discuss after.
I'm really glad you like that. Those words mean a great deal to us, and you'll see that reflected throughout the show today. Welcome to the Worldwide Developers Conference. You're going to have an incredible week. This is our 24th WWDC. It's the longest running developer conference that we're aware of. It's truly worldwide. We have attendees this morning for over 60 countries. And 2/3 of the people in the audience today are here for the first time. No hazing from the upperclassmen. We've got a great week planned for you with over 100 sessions and over 120 hands-on labs so you can bring in your code, get some help tuning it, or get just about any question answered. We also have over 1,000 engineers here this week, So grab them, make use of them. They're here to help. But don't ask them about future roadmaps. Now, the developer program is incredibly vibrant. We have over 6 million registered developers, with 1.5 million of those added in the last year alone. Demand for this show has never been greater. We sold out in just over a minute. I'm really sorry we couldn't accommodate every
All right, everybody, we're going to kind of bounce back and forth probably between our live blog and this live stream because the stream's a little bit jumpy. No surprise there because there's always a massive, overwhelming interest.
A few people are watching it, yeah.
A few people are watching it here and there. And we're hoping, of course, that stream's going to stabilize pretty soon. But in the meantime, it's the part of the keynote where they're talking about the developer love and the success of the stores that they've become.
It'll probably be like a 2-minute video on a new Apple store. They open some location, how beautiful it is.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
So that, I got to say, that's a sign all on its own that don't expect any sea changes from Apple today.
Yeah.
If they're still sort of following that same kind of keynote playbook. Indeed, now we are talking about the Berlin store. There's always like a thing about the cool new store that looks totally different. Well, no, it looks all the same. But now we are indeed seeing a video, you called it, of the Berlin store.
Hey, I've done a few of these.
But this is a good thing. This is a good thing because it allows, hopefully, the stream to get figured out
That's what I'm
and
hoping
resolved.
Yeah.
And then we can just sit here and look pretty.
Yeah. Just stay. At least we got our blue shirts on.
Donald didn't get the memo about the blue thing.
Yeah.
We do. So we have the live broadcast. Kind of, we're dipping in and out, basically, of the frozen stills of the live broadcast because there's the Berlin store. It's beautiful. It was in a 100-year-old building. The chat room is asking us to comment on the intro video, which seemed to really get some mixed responses. It was very design oriented. So for those who have been predicting, like us, major facelifts, a really design focused keynote, that intro really went that way.
All right, we're going to keep on jumping in. Here's the keynote again. We'll see if we stick with this.
We'll be hosting many events throughout the year for the communities, from music to films and more. We had our signature
Okay, guys, so yeah, obviously we're having a few more difficulties keeping up with the stream, but right now, from what we know inside, Josh Lowenson is telling us that the video from Berlin has wrapped up. They kind of did their common store video intro. Scott Stein is commentating on. So one thing about their stores is also in San Francisco, they have this great, it was at the time their flagship store on Market Street. They are now creating a second store in Union Square where that big Levi's store is.
Oh,
Did you hear about this?
Oh,
so they're going bigger and badder, even though that store
maybe
is pretty much
our store is going to be in the video next year.
Probably will. Now they're also talking about how next month is the App Store's 5th birthday. Up to this point, they've now downloaded 50 billion apps.
Wow.
They like to brag about the apps.
They do love that. They love to talk about how many. Yeah, first they do the brick and mortar stores
at the opening, and we were so excited about this opening, we made a video, and I'd like to run it for you this morning.
So we've gone back in time a little bit
Jays,
here.
what's going on over there right now?
No. Oh,
yeah. All right, stick with us, everyone. The stream is a mess.
Because we still have the live blog.
But we do still have the live blog,
CNET.com,
exactly.
So that's how we're keeping up with what's going on.
I almost said a naughty word on the air, not knowing that our mics were hot, and I'm glad I I'm a mature grown
See,
adult.
look at that. He is really learning. He's a learning machine.
I'm really growing up, you guys.
They are talking about how there are 575 million store accounts on the App Store. And I read a pretty interesting article, actually, about how that is, I mean, that's second only to Facebook in terms of signed up users who are sharing data, who are sharing credit card numbers, and that is a huge area of potential innovation for Apple. If they could figure out social, if they could figure out cloud, they really have valuable accounts behind them. So I think we've gone back in time a little bit to a video of that Berlin store opening, so you can get a look at how that appeared, and it looks very Apple. Actually, this makes me realize how German Apple really looks.
Exactly, it's the most un-German looking store Apple has.
But see, it's a 100-year-old building, so they have the really beautiful existing historical touches, and then some,
this is cool.
We got some fancy setup stuff.
High five. That's classic. And a guy wearing a GoPro on his head.
Right. We're first into Berlin.
All right.
Okay, we saw some Berlin. Tim Cook pointed out too that not only is that more accounts than anybody but Facebook in terms of signed up users, it's more accounts with credit cards than anyone else on the internet.
Facebook wants those credit cards badly, but
so bad.
So now they're also talking about how paid developers, the money that they've paid them from their apps has hit $10 billion as well. Momentum is incredible. Cook says $5 billion of that was from just this year. Cook stacks it up to Android and others, noting that it's more than 3 times from those stores. Got to always give a little dig.
We could have total economic recovery if we just got everyone developing apps for Apple.
I'm pretty sure, I don't know, judging from the conversations on the streets of San Francisco, isn't that already the case?
Pretty much the population of San Francisco.
I'm an app developer. I'm an entrepreneur.
Right now, they also have a developer up on stage, Boris Sofman, the co-founder of, which company is this here? Anki.
Which is a company that uses iOS devices to do AI and robot intelligence. So this is actually probably going to be a pretty cool demo. We're discovering in some ways that if we rewind the stream, as the chat room's pointed out, about 2 minutes, that allows it to actually buffer. So that's kind of how we got that Berlin stuff working. See, look, there it is again. Berlin. Don't you want to go there?
Let's keep watching that over and over again. Great.
Well, let's see if this has helped with buffer.
That's Berlin. It's a fantastic store in a great location. Only Apple could do this. Now, we also have some pretty great digital stores, and I know this is incredibly important to those of you in the audience. The App Store celebrates its 5th birthday next month. Nothing like the App Store existed before, and it has fundamentally changed the world. Customers love the buying experience, and they love your incredible apps. And they've now downloaded 50 billion apps. This is phenomenal. That's a lot of zeros and a truly staggering number for less than 5 years. Thanks to you, we now have 900,000 apps in the store, and the catalog is very active. 90% of those are downloaded each month. We have 375,000 apps that have been designed for iPad to take advantage of the full, beautiful canvas. That still compares to just a few hundred from those other guys. And we have 575 million accounts. Most of these accounts have credit cards and one-click buying, so it's simple and elegant to buy your apps. We have more accounts with credit cards than any store on the internet that we're aware of. Now, we are incredibly proud this morning to announce that we have now paid developers $10 billion. And the momentum is incredible. We paid out $5 billion of that just in the last year. Now, to put that in context, that's 3 times more than all other platforms
Okay, guys, can you hear us? All right, we're good to go.
All right, we're back. So we're going to hang with the live blog. What we're going to do is give you the live blog coverage as it happens.
Which is more up to date anyways, because we're
I know, that whole being 3 minutes behind the real time was super confusing.
I mean, this is the internet, guys. Come on. We need this is real. This is real time.
We can do better for you.
But so what's happening now? So this is a case where you can have the live keynote open from Apple site in a different tab, and then our live blog and our commentary, if you want to. I think our commentary is actually going to be more interesting. Anyway,
quite frankly,
on a personal anecdote,
I'm just saying, Brian Tong is hilarious. So the guys from Anki Drive, and this is pretty impressive. So this is the app developer that came up and is doing what sounds like a very risky and impressive live demo using wireless technologies of cars driving themselves around tracks,
like actual little slot cars.
Actual little slot cars.
Yeah,
it's the future of slot racing, and it sounds like they've had a few problems with connection. No surprise.
Right. And it's using Bluetooth, their Bluetooth 4.0 low power mode too. It's not going over Wi-Fi, from what I understand.
Are they going to learn eventually that just any Wi-Fi based keynote demos should just not be attempted? It's pretty tough.
Yeah, it's tough. Live demos are definitely risky. But also, it sounds like it's working now.
Well, even if it wasn't, it begs the question: why would they open with this to begin with? It's kind of
weird,
a confusing
right?
open.
Absolutely.
I know. I mean, this is definitely kind of a strange flow so far. On the one hand, it was the very traditional Apple flow that you're used to: a little video, an update on developers, an update on stores. They haven't done any sales numbers, which I find kind of surprising, and then they go straight into a slot racing video featuring somebody else,
a developer of iOS.
iOS.
Right. And that's, I understand, from a developer perspective, you're seeing something new that you maybe hadn't thought of that you can do with Apple's, software and APIs. But it's
honestly the winner of this, Anki.
Anki,
not you,
totally,
not me, not Apple. Anki.
And the chat room is saying the same thing. What is the point of opening with this demo? It's just a very interesting.
They're just warming things up, guys, right?
I know, but look,
I'm just kidding.
We're used to our oatmeal. Our oatmeal keynote this should be where the sales numbers go.
Right.
All right, they're saying it works with the iPhone or iPod Touch. You can play against friends, against the enemy AI. Sofman says the game is coming to stores this fall, but that Anki Drive software is out today for people to mess around with. Cook says, I think these guys are going to be super successful.
Well, they got top billing, basically.
Yeah,
like, Johnny Ive didn't even make it to the stage before the Anki guys. I'm thinking they're in the money right now.
I mean, it's an interesting thing because WWDC has been all about the developers, and I guess clearly they're like, we're going to show the developers some love before we even show off our own product.
Yeah.
Normally that happens after the fact, right?
That's big time stuff.
But we'll see how it all shakes out.
It's just so weird, you guys. So weird.
Cook's thanking developers for making incredible apps. It gets a big round of applause. Now on to the Mac.
The Mac.
Now we have our sales numbers.
Mac install base at 72 million, which is double what it was 5 years ago. Cook says.
Mm-hmm. See,
they're gonna probably talk about we're bringing it to America.
To America, yeah.
The Mac.
Which is that's a big shift, and it's a really feel good announcement.
It's a good story.
It's
a good story.
It's a good place to do some digs at Windows.
Yeah.
see how they definitely do that.
I don't know. What if they just throw a developer in? I don't know if they're going to follow the playbook anymore. So confused. My oatmeal has berries on it. We do. So follow along with our live blog. It's over you can find it from news.cnet.com. We've got all these stills that we're showing you are photos that our photographers are taking from inside. The first Mac that they're showing us a picture of as they talk about it is the iMac. So that sounds like it's going to be our first update. They're going over some victory laps on the iMac and the MacBook. They have outpaced annual growth rate versus the PC. The Mac is up 100% in the last 5 years versus PC's 18%.
Ooh.
Ouch. They say we care much more, though, Cook is saying. Again, sticking with the kind of that. Back to the playbook, thank goodness, in normal oatmeal. We care much more that the Mac is #1 in customer satisfaction and quality.
Well, also with the PC market just completely dying, right? Yeah. They always talk about the post-PC era. Apple's only story to tell, really, with the iMacs right now is the fact that we're outperforming the PC market, right? And they continue, people say your numbers are down, but that's really the only story to tell. I mean, other companies can't talk about their desktops like that, so yeah, sure. Right. That's what Apple can do.
Right. You can totally talk about how you're the only one selling computers.
Exactly. Hey. Good on you.
But he says we're not standing still. He brought up Mountain Lion, 28 million copies sold since it launched, making it the best-selling release yet. They're 35% on Mountain Lion of users. And they're moving on to talking about OS 10.
So we're going to lead with OS 10 in this keynote. We're not standing still, Cook says. And
So
to
now
do that, Craig Federighi, the chief of iOS and OS 10. Oh, thanks for the good
Federighi.
Yeah, can you say that I pronounced it louder so people know that I
Good pronunciation. Dude. Props for that.
We should have did a quiz.
I like how he
We
said
should
it
have
too as
quizzed.
well. Federighi.
Federighi.
Mi pasta.
It had a good flow. Federighi.
Paisan.
We have no idea if he's Italian.
No.
We're just being offensive for no reason.
And you can only find that here at CNET.com.
That's right.
Exclusive.
Would you rather watch
offensive-
the keynote, the like janky stream, or us? That's what I'm saying. Federighi says that as we come to the 10th version of OS 10, he says, we have a real problem. This is the first OS update that was delayed due to a dwindling supply of cats.
In case you want to know what
cat
Federighi
joke.
looks like, thank you for our producers up in the house. That's Craig
Outstanding.
Federighi.
Well done. Look at that head of hair. He jokes that maybe they should call it iOS 10 Sea Lion, that we could go
I've been voting Hello Kitty this whole time.
Oh, Hello
OS
Kitty
10
is
Hello
so
Kitty.
good.
And also,
on.
that's
Come on.
It's a big insult to the cat family. There are a number of cats yet explored.
There are really a lot of
with
cats.
OS.
I'm just saying, there are a lot of cats. In fact, you went-
Hey, Hello Kitty.
oh,
Hey.
Hello Kitty. Tweet us your kitty cat names, because I'm just saying
Well, they're a banner.
they haven't even come close.
Their banner showed a wave, like a green-blue wave behind OS 10. So maybe they're going with like water terminology. Maybe that's the new transition, the new flow.
Narwhal.
Narwhal.
Narwhals are a thing.
OS
They
10
could totally.
narwhal.
OS 10 narwhal would be rad. He's still talking about the names, by the
Emerging
way.
from the water with his little unicorn.
So he said they want to set names that are going to last through the next 10 years. And he says it's the places, they're going with the places that inspire us here in California.
Oh.
In the place where OS 10 was designed. So the
Cupertino.
first California release, OS 10 Mavericks.
Oh, so the waves.
The waves.
The
Going with
surfers
the
will get that
waves.
one.
If you guys aren't familiar,
rad.
Mavericks, world famous surf competition that happens off of Half Moon Bay Area,
Yep.
and we're talking about waves that get anywhere from 25 to 40 feet. So that's kind of the inspiration behind
That's a good
that.
one. I actually kind of like that. Although I'm disappointed that they didn't go with what Godzook suggested in the chat room, which is Chupacabra.
Well, maybe they'll go South America after
Now,
North
in the keynote, Mavericks is a re-release or release with deep tech. Federighi says big battery life, which we like,
Yes.
lots of apps and features that will appeal to power users. We're going to start with the Finder, he says. But according to Josh, looking at the keynote, they spotted iBooks, the app, on the dock as well.
Oh, really? That's
not
still
not
happening?
maybe the most power friendly app.
We're still doing that?
Yeah.
Finder now has
Oh.
tabs. You can still have multiple windows. We'll probably be getting a picture of that pretty soon in the live blog. But now you can have them open up in tabs.
Oh my God, I love
Each
that.
one can have its own location.
I actually do really love that.
Tabs was rumored that it would be a part of OS 10. There are very few rumors about OS 10,
Right.
but that was one of those rumors. So there you go.
Wait, no surprises so far?
Oh.
Except that Mavericks thing. That was
Yeah.
big. Plus, me and the chat room are all over the Top Gun aspect right now.
There we go. Mavericks.
Mavericks, boom! Kelly is right on it.
Seriously. Donald, is that
Jamie
you?
is right on it.
Yes, me drowning off to the left over.
Guys, Mavericks, if you haven't gotten to see that surf competition, it is sweet. All right, this is also new. You can now add tags when you're saving a file to make them more searchable. The tags then show up in the Finder's sidebar. Some of this has already been in OS 10,
Yeah.
but it's baked in more, and then you can use them in searches. And I have to say, that whole command spacebar to search your Mac is so handy anyway. And then if you can do that kind of tagging, I mean, it's a little bit of data entry, but it's still cool.
I mean, it's for the power user guys and
Yeah.
gals.
Yeah,
Or
totally.
above average user.
Also, 2 points to Quan for 2 O's in Goose. I told you we were going Top Gun in the chat room right now. It's my favorite movie of all time, y'all.
Don't get Molly started on Top Gun.
I know you
Jeez.
guys are talking about surfing, but I'm all Top Gun all the time.
We'll be coming up with Top Gun OS names for the rest of the show.
There are now menus and docks that you can stretch across multiple displays. Another
hey.
big power user boon. That's huge.
Big
because-
cheers from the crowd.
Big cheers.
The first eruption from the elite.
Multiple displays in general. Federighi says, we're not giving you a free multiple display here, but this new feature lets you get all your menus across multiple displays, and you can summon the dock. And when you go full screen, it does not mess around with your other display.
That's pretty sweet.
This is really,
Yeah.
I mean, these are like,
Functional.
they feel like simple things that kind of, but these are the kinds of things that, and this has been my beef with Mac for a long time, is that these machines are hard to use in a corporate environment where people often do have things like multiple displays. And these are just features that are just going to make them that much more usable.
Well, also the creative environment. I feel like a lot of multi-display is being used for video editing, graphic design, all that stuff. So.
Absolutely. Pro's finally getting a little. If you guys also get a Mac Pro, I think you'll be happy today. Instead of just being like, "Argh."
The dark horse rears its head again.
I'm telling you, like I have
dark horse.
I have
It's
a
real
couple
dark
really
horse.
good friends who are pro photographers, and they were so upset last year at WWDC when they got a 13-inch Retina display, no Mac Pro update, no love at all. They're like, we made the Mac.
It's honestly almost been 3 years since the last Mac Pro update.
Yeah,
it's almost been 3 years. That's a long time.
It's a long time
in tech speak.
You have other technologies coming out that support that kind of professional use, like Thunderbolt, and they're just not. They're not there. All right, so Federighi is demoing the new Finder. You can merge multiple open Finder windows into one with tabs, which is actually pretty rad.
Mm-hmm. They also, our bloggers on site have said they showed the full screen feature for the first time and no one clapped. Not even Apple's own employees that clap at these events didn't clap.
That seems a little excessive. I'm going to hold my clapping on the full
really,
screen.
You guys? Full screen Finder?
I'm gonna
Shut
resist.
The front door.
I'm gonna resist on this one. I'm gonna hold back. I'm gonna hold back a little, guys.
Hilarious.
So they're doing the demo right now, obviously without any video to support that. We're gonna
could have been OS 10 domestic short hair. Joshua Santiago pointed out on Twitter that Ubuntu did have a release called Natty Narwhal.
Really?
Yep. Narwhal's totally over. It's been taken.
Done. Sorry.
You know, while we're waiting and we're doing this, for all you guys that are watching our live coverage here right now, we know you guys can hashtag CNET Live.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us what you would have named OS 10. What would be your name for OS 10? What would you have called it? We will read all of them except the naughty ones. Because we know how some of you sickos are, y'all.
We would like to reiterate that one more time.
We know there's a lot
Your
of
naughty
people out
tweets
there.
will not accidentally be full screened because we can see them before we put them on.
I get a monitor to them.
Federighi is jumping now to how you can work with tags. He's just sort of tossing a bunch into a preview document, and then you can see it pop up in the Finder. And you can also, and I love this.
Oh my God.
You can color coordinate any of your tabs. You can color coordinate.
With what? With your wardrobe?
Yeah. Well, you guys already figured that
one out.
Well, no,
but you can actually give the tabs colors.
I'll give
so
you
you
that
could
one.
give them colors anyway.
Yeah.
Color coordinate, I think, is not the right word, but I can't think of what the thing is. But you can give them colors, and then
It's like color labels.
For
It's like
example,
labels, colors.
all your documents could be green, and then like all your spreadsheets. Well, your spreadsheets should be green, I guess, and then all your documents could be purple, and then all your photo folders could be blue, and then you would just see at a glance, you'd be like, "Oh, those folders all have pictures in them."
Your naughty tweets. What color would your naughty tweets be?
Your naughty tweets would be. They already used blue, but it seems like they should
I don't want to go there. People are gonna just. No,
but
I don't
anyway,
wanna go there. I could say something. I'm
you
stop.
see that if you're like a little bit type.
It's a new Brian Tong today.
If you're a little bit type B plus, like I am.
My mom's watching, Donald.
Okay.
Really excited about this OCD organizational element. Look at that. Green for approved, orange for in review. Oh my God, I love this.
I mean, you know what? Here's the thing. Like, even with, when you could like color label your folders, right? I feel like you use it in general the first month, and then all of a sudden your desktop looks like it always has.
Well,
just
no way.
Your desktop is
Type
spick
B
and
plus.
span.
Yeah, always.
Okay.
Federighi is now showing off how the dock works in both across the multi-screen displays. He took iTunes full screen and was able to swap to another screen while the display on the left remained unchanged. Can we just, for a minute, harken back to the Google I.O. keynote? Where they were like, changing the world with predictive search and knowing exactly where you are and what you're interested in. And then they were connecting you with all your friends. And they were auto-grouping your photos, right? And magically making them look prettier. And these, like, unbelievable displays of incredibly high horsepower stuff. And then right now, I'm just saying that right now what we're getting is a demo of an operating system doing the things that it should have sort of seamlessly done for a long time.
That's what they're supposed to do.
Google was all spending a lot of time talking about their Chromebooks and giving those out to customers or attendees of the show, and they couldn't sell them.
I think
but also the idea
Molly.
of like taking an operating system out of this stuff and being like, it's just the web.
I mean, I'm not expecting anything huge right now. I think you're just being impatient right now.
Maybe I'm being impatient. That's true.
I think you're being.
If we're really time traveling, let's time travel back like 2 minutes ago to where Molly Wood was freaking out about color coordinating tabs. All right,
come on, let's keep it real, baby.
Touche. I got all excited about that, and then I was like, really? Why couldn't I color coordinate my friggin' folders?
And then you got mad. And then you got mad.
I did, because I was like, why am I getting all excited about this? For God's sake, like, it's color labels on friggin' folders. Like, really? I had that in Post-its like 30 years ago.
All right, if you guys want to take my screen, we'll show off a few of the names that you guys all hear in our CNET Live chat room. OS 10 Simba from Armand, Spider Monkey, Michael Calames, Mikel Pernisco. This is great pronunciation test. Come on, OS 10 Thundercats. OS 10 Thundercats, seriously.
OS 10 Thundercats is so freaking awesome. Can we send him a hard drive or something? That is such a good suggestion.
If they had OS 10 Lion, they should have had OS 10 Lion O.
Oh, OS 10 Grumpy Cat was on there too. That's funny. Dude, Thundercats is the bomb.
Yeah.
Really good one.
I'm pretty confident with that one.
Someone also said OS 10 11.
Yeah, that's
funny.
That's pretty solid. All right, so here we go. They're talking about other advanced technologies. They're talking about AirPlay support use.
Mm-hmm.
People want great battery life, so now things. Oh, we're kind of jumping around, but let's go here. People are talking about things like AppNap, which directs power to certain apps and not other. Now timer coalescing. These
timer
are things.
Coalescing.
So they're starting.
You know what? All of this is great, though. I mean, again, like back to me being happy about nuts and bolts instead of totally pissy about nuts and bolts.
Yeah, we had to shake you.
It is. You did. I appreciate that. Thanks for giving me that. You gave me I was hysterical, and you gave me the little slap across the face, and I was like, thank you.
Yeah, come on.
My sister.
Spit out the Kool-Aid.
That's
Spit
why
out the Kool-Aid.
Battery. Any software level improvements in battery life on laptops, especially. Very smart. A smart way to go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
but it is going to get pretty geeky up in here.
Battery life has always been the conundrum of all of our devices. It's the bane of our existence right now, right? Phone battery life, other than the Razer Max HD. I mean, who has
and any mobile device
life?
too. I mean, laptops and tablets and all of it. You know, it's not just phones. So he's talking Federighi is talking about how various tasks can slow down a CPU and murder your battery.
Murder.
We're also talking about computers with batteries that can't be replaced easily.
Yeah,
too.
good point.
So battery life is a pretty critical thing.
Seriously.
The MacBook Retina's battery, I believe, is glued inside.
Nice.
So just in case you wanted user access
and
to that.
And it takes proprietary tools to ever open the case, and then it's glued in there.
Yeah.
With a proprietary polymer. The new system, Federighi says, brings down CPU activity by 72%. They're now talking about something called compressed memory. I mean, the bottom line is, look, this means that, again, demonstrating the benefit of controlling the hardware and the software, because they can build in technologies that are optimized for their own hardware to potentially produce MacBook Airs that have 12-hour batteries.
Molly, honestly, I would think you'd be bouncing off the walls right now. We talked about battery life before the show, and they're giving it to you. I think you should be bouncing off the walls right now.
Well, they haven't talked about the phone battery life. That's what I'm really mad about.
You're okay with your laptop. Yeah.
I mean, the Airs have pretty good battery life.
Yeah, for sure.
I got to actually, it's cool that they're doing this, but that's not the one I'm mad about.
Right.
They're not there yet.
More app naps. Hopefully app naps will carry over.
Dude, app nap is rad.
Yeah.
I think app nap could definitely be trending.
Federighi explains that you have... I take app naps all
I need
the
a
time.
little app nap right now.
Federighi explains that you have active and inactive memory. It's a constant juggle. The new system can compress inactive memory to free up space for more open memory. This makes things like opening docs or reopening an application speed up. I can tell you that opening apps and docs is pretty fast already.
Yeah.
But if it's more of a battery life...
It's not as fast as it should be on, my Mac Mini, but it's not a battery life issue. It's just a performance issue.
Yeah.
They're moving on to, they moved on to Safari, and Safari got a single clap.
Probably got a single clap by Dan Ackerman. Who wrote that?
Safari!
Oh, no.
There's a new Safari, a new Safari homepage with top sites that includes bookmarks, reading lists, and shared links. Yeah, that's pretty single clap stuff right there.
Yeah.
With the reading list, you can now
just keep
a web design
scrolling.
thing. You can just keep scrolling, and at the end of an article, it hops to the next. Oh, just you create an actual list.
Yeah.
Just keep scrolling. The new slogan for Safari.
Right. I'm sorry, I was taking an app nap. By the way, I am not trying to send you guys anywhere else, but I feel like we should also give occasional little updates on the Xbox keynote that's happening simultaneously. While we're in between. Microsoft unveiled a new smart glass for Xbox One with Twitch streaming. There you go.
Okay.
Twitch?
I also had
Twitch.
read briefly, because we've been locked in here, that there is a smaller mini Xbox 360 that they announced.
Oh, really?
I could be wrong, because we have not seen anything over there, but
I know
that's what I was reading.
Well, check it out. You'll be able to.
I'm not
the Twitch streaming means you can broadcast your Xbox One games in real time.
Yep.
which is kind of cool. All right, let's see. What else is going on at WWDC? Still Safari.
Well, we have a picture of Safari's logo. It looks exactly the same for the desktop. It's not flatter. I'm just saying it's not flatter.
You're right. It's not flatter.
Say what you will about Safari.
That's OS 10 though, but we thought we might have some flatter elements. But
sharing Safari between iOS and the desktop OS, it actually has a pretty big market share in terms of browser usage, right? I mean, it's
when you use the mobile, kind of from the mobile stat side, right? That's the one that blows up,
right? Because
totally.
Android or at least Google has their OS divided between the stock. There's still like the legacy gingerbread Android browser, and then Chrome, which is now being moved over to Android, but they're not counting that as the same number. So
yeah, they're talking about some of Safari's major improvements. Nitro tiered JIT. I don't know.
Basically, all of it, all the stuff that they said. There's a whole big alphabet soup thing, and it means faster JavaScript, yay, and better memory usage, also yay.
They have a little chart, their little graph that shows how superior Safari is with their JavaScript benchmark.
He's firing up the Mail app to show off some of that JavaScript performance. It is glassy smooth, he says, and super fast.
He didn't say he did. I don't know if he actually said buttery. Our commenter said buttery, but butter would refer to Android's OS.
So they would never say that.
They would never say butter.
That's why
I can't believe it's not butter.
And that's why they had to go with that incredibly awkward construction, glassy smooth.
Glassy smooth.
It's like, not all glass is smooth.
JIT, by the way, thank you, Schneids, in the chat room for pointing out that it means just-in-time compiling.
Oh,
there you go.
And Zook says that all it really means is faster malware.
Boom.
All right, so we've opened up a link for Mail, and now we're in Safari, which has improved scrolling.
I mean,
no, it's
glassy smooth scrolling, Molly. Yeah. This is serious stuff.
I'm excited.
This is serious stuff. All right, guys. You know what? For all of you watching us, send us a little tweet at CNET Live. What do you think so far? I don't know. Maybe you're blown away right now. You could be. Tell us what you think right now with the keynote. Okay.
There's gonna be more.
There's gonna be a little bit of negatives.
I want you guys to know that I opened up the Xbox live stream just so I could sort of check in on what was happening, and it's just a steady, like one entire continuous of like pictures of scary zombies and exploding blood and like all this stuff. Man, I'm like, oh, okay, it's E3.
You're on the wrong one.
I know, totally.
Got picked for the wrong
there's
show.
A sweet dragon right here.
Wow, we're going live to it right now.
That's probably not. Not helping our cause.
Those are next gen graphics. Honestly, yeah. Some of us were going to be at E3 this year, but Apple decided to conveniently say, "Hey, we're gonna show you Safari and the latest technologies."
All right, so AppNap is also keeping an eye on what else is going on in your system. Federighi shows what's happening when you have Safari open and then you bring up iTunes.
Oh man, it's called force quit.
And then he has, and this is exciting, a CPU meter up on the desktop.
Wow,
and it is not spiking. Woo.
All right, that's a big win for iTunes right there. That does not happen on my system.
AppNap.
All right. Well, maybe I'll start using iTunes again.
No, please don't be ridiculous.
Same. Maybe
I saw the best
tweet.
The best tweet about WWDC that I saw yesterday said that if Apple introduces iRadio, then hallelujah, iTunes will get another feature.
You guys just stop hating on more features. I'm okay with it.
I will never stop hating on
okay
iTunes.
Not hating. I'm just saying. Why are we complaining about features? That's what we always want.
Actually, I have to say with the last update to iTunes, they've done a really good job hiding all of the features that they've been pushing into it for like the past 5 years.
But then the fact that they hide them just makes you wonder why it takes so long to start up.
Yeah.
Then you're like, what is wrong with this app? Why is it so slow? Oh, there's a million hidden features.
Mine opens pretty fast.
And then why is the download like 3 gigs? No, it's not.
It's not.
But it's like it's up to 200 megs or something, isn't it? No, it's like about 100 meg download, I think, at this point.
It's still pretty bulky.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Over on Xbox, I think we're still talking about tabs and the reader tool. We're still talking about the reader tool.
Here's
now
cool thing.
iCloud keychain.
Well, this is cool if you can have all your passwords in the sky and it almost acts like as that one password app. If this is what they're doing, iCloud keychain. If this is what they're doing, that'd be cool. I'm okay with that.
Am I the only one who cannot? Okay, so I don't actually use keychain, but I very frequently get pop-ups that say that so-and-so something needs to access my keychain, and then I have to like click it OK like 9 times before it'll go away.
I only get it when I change some of my passwords if I accepted it in the very beginning a long time ago.
Maybe that's what happened.
Yeah.
I don't know. But literally that is my entire experience with Keychain. Is sometimes it pops up and I'm like, I don't know, there's a password. I didn't put a
Maybe
password
you typed
in
in the password wrong because you were typing so fast at super speed, or you're like saying WWDC real fast.
Maybe. I don't think so though. I don't remember typing in any passwords. I just know that it won't go away. Really, I'm sorry guys, we're still talking about Safari. So that's why I took a little mental app nap. This could potentially be exciting, like iCloud LastPass. You want a different password for every site. This gives you website logins, credit card numbers, account info, and Wi-Fi passwords. It is all encrypted, and Safari can auto-suggest a password for you to use in a site that it logs for you. Therefore, I can now announce that Apple has just killed, or at least attempted to kill, LastPass.
LastPass. I don't know.
I'm saying it. I want to clarify attempt.
It's their try to, but
But that is look at
the picture. The keychain's a cloud.
It's got
it's a cloud.
Cute patoots. That design focus is really coming out. I mean,
it's a cloud. Can I? You know what? They should sell those at the Apple company store.
So they're
where
giving.
You can only exclusively get things
this
like
is so
that.
weird. Did Apple secretly buy LastPass? Because if I was going to tell you what LastPass did, I would describe it exactly like this. Now they're giving an example that while you're shopping, you can go to a store and then pick your credit card that's on file in eStore. Pick the credit cards that are on file and get your email passwords and everything.
Yeah, but if Apple screws this up, do you know what a huge
terrifying.
security risk it would be?
Well, and considering how many times those iTunes accounts have been hacked and how much of a persistent problem that's been for them, I do not believe that Apple has the security chops to make people feel comfortable about using this, because they have not taken security seriously. So unless they talk about it,
if it's a baked in, I feel like LastPass is something you go out of your way to get, and you understand what it is when you download it that you're getting. If this is something that's baked into Safari and people don't understand that they're putting all their passwords in here or generating them through this through Safari and is acting as the keeper of all their credit card info, that is something that people would, if it's just running in the background, like. My mom could easily leave her computer running and have that be something. I mean, we'll wait and see. It could be really well done. I'm just saying.
I won't even store credit card numbers in LastPass. I mean, there's no way that I'm going to. I think my credit card number has been compromised 3 or 4 times just from iTunes hacks alone. There is no way that I'm putting my numbers in there.
All right. So on to the next feature they're showing off is notifications. You can now reply. Wow, how amazing is this? Finally, you can reply inside of a notification if it's emails, iMessages, and IMs. Thank you very much. Same thing with FaceTime calls. New kind of notification, apps that send notifications to your iOS device. Hey, you could get them on your Mac too. So some examples include sports scores, eBay. All this shows up on the lock screen when you wake up your Mac, and it also that now gets automatically updated on both platforms. So that's a little iCloud action going on for you.
And you can, if it's an email, an iMessage, or an IM, you can reply right from within the notification.
I said that.
You did?
Yeah.
Same thing with FaceTime calls?
We can do a check score how we always do that to each other.
Seriously. Well, this is the first time it's happened, actually, so that's not bad.
That's pretty good, actually.
We're 43 minutes in.
That's actually pretty good.
MG Stigler, who normally does not crack me up, cracks me up with this tweet. Some improvements to notifications. Now they'll work. Frankly, I think it's too soon to call. Too soon to call that. My favorite thing about notifications on iOS is how I get those notifications of the emails that I got like 2 weeks ago. That's so cute. Yay. So adorable how once in a while the phone starts delivering notifications and it's like 2 weeks old.
Maybe it's a time
machine.
But
not every time, just sometimes.
All right, they're showing the new iCal, and what you can kind of see here is iCal had this like leather stitched kind of bound look before. So this might be a lead into how they're kind of trying to treat this a little flatter, get rid of that whole skeuomorphism design where you trying to take a real world item and apply it to the software look and design. So iCal revamp looks a lot more like that one that was in Lion, and we have a screenshot of there. Federighi says no cows were. This is funny though. Federighi says no cows were harmed in the making of this one, referring to removing the leather
thing.
Yeah,
he's kind of a funny guy. It looks a lot like Google Calendar. I'm going back to the notifications thing. It is interesting to see that. You know, we talked earlier during the phone call part about the melding potentially of OS X and iOS and those two becoming a little more similar. I mean, that's very much a mobile interface kind of feature to have notifications coming to a desktop, making it really much more like a mobile device.
And don't be scared. You guys might be able to use this. They're probably a little better. New maps for Mac.
And this is pretty cool. And sorry, TripIt. Now we need like a little counter of apps that are in trouble. You will now be able to send your travel plans from your Mac to your iOS devices, and then it will add them to Apple Maps. Thanks to Zertop in the chat room for pointing that one out.
Okay.
That's another. I guess it's a reason to actually use Apple Maps again. Possibly.
Maybe.
It's hard once they like lose your trust for you to be like, okay, I'm gonna go all in with them again.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying, right? I mean, it could be an amazing experience, and we'll just see how it plays out. But it's hard. I don't use Apple Maps at all anymore.
Well, you are now getting, and this is good at least, you're getting a developer SDK for mapping, map stuff for Mac developers. They can add mapping features to the Mac.
Huh.
Also, last but not least on OS 10, and shocking news, iBooks was not previously available on the Mac, but now it is.
And no one thought to complain about it until now,
because they were like, "Well, it's for books." And
how much applause did that one get?
We don't, no word yet.
No word yet.
Who is there
clapping.
and can tweet us?
Donald's clapping.
That was a half. He gave that a golf clap.
And next it would be like, and newsstand for Mac. Like, oh god,
the icon that you love to look at.
Oh, and then they're showing off. They went from iBooks, it's coming, to now they're showing off the Maps app. A new Maps app. Looks iOS-ish. By the way, just to clarify, this is all still on the Mac. None of this is iOS specific. So all these things that sound like totally mobile features, iBooks, Maps, password controls, notifications, we're still talking about the desktop. So they really are making that kind of mobile interface across.
Yeah, but you could see some of these things like the password collection like becoming an iOS feature.
Yeah.
Easily.
I mean, with the iCloud integration, I think they actually referred to it saying that your passwords or similar Wi-Fi networks would be able to be detected on both devices when you, let's say we come to work, right? So that, I mean, that's cool. That's sweet. Wi-Fi, sweet. Credit card, not so much. I mean, do you guys pretty much fearlessly just enter your credit card into a lot of sites when you just want to buy something, or do you?
I enter
really
your credit card into sites when I want
to
buy something.
That's why one of mine has been put on hold.
Honestly, at this point, like I feel like every time I get my credit card number nice and good and memorized, it gets compromised. I mean, I just feel like that's the world that we live in, and the credit card companies are so good at shutting it down that I honestly I don't worry about it very much.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to enter my debit card number. Maybe they could do more damage if they had direct access. But I use a combination of credit cards and PayPal, honestly, I use PayPal more for convenience. Mm-hmm. It's gotten annoying enough, the constant compromising of the credit card numbers, that I'm using PayPal more. But it's not like I'm afraid of it happening.
They're still showing more of the maps. I think the interesting thing about the maps thing is, because they lost their relationship with Google and that was integrated into their operating system at that time, they're really trying to find these new hooks so that it works not only in your iOS device and your Mac, so that they're trying to create this kind of seamless transfer between the information on whatever map app you're using. So, I mean, I could see how that's useful if you're using Apple Maps and you want to map directions somewhere, and then all of a sudden you just open up your iOS device and it's there. That can be nice.
I think that's great. I actually do think that's cool.
So.
That's a super useful feature, as long as you're willing to use that map application.
Exactly.
It's real, but it is like that device. That's the kind of iCloud stuff, right? That's the kind of actual sort of seamless synchronicity that should happen in an always on, always connected world that Apple hasn't always been great at. In fact, it's weird, if anything, that you have to send it. It should just be like you open up Maps and there it is. You know.
Did you say always on as just like almost it was in your head and it was like this show that you do and you're like,
actually,
always on
I've got a new show pitch now for CNET.
It's
seamless synchronicity. I'm going to go with that one as the next show.
Is it a dancing show?
Yeah. Seamless synchronicity. I'm going to sell that in my T-shirt store right next to the new Google Glass Era T-shirt that says, "You do not have my permission to take my photograph with your eyeball."
All right, he's showing off jumping into a calendar event with an address that shows you how you can now get an ETA of how long it will take to get there using the integrated Maps app. So this is cool. This is useful if you're an Apple user, for sure.
Well, also it means you can really dial in your map before you leave it to chance on your,
Well, and they seem
iPhone.
to be. I mean, this is
another fun play of words there.
I know, nice.
Dial. I know that's why they paid me the big bucks.
Yeah. I was trying to be like a nice little bingo game, so I
this-
get all the CNET shows and podcasts.
But what they are showing off finally is collecting and using predictive data in a way that, and I'm not going to be the person who sits here all keynote long and says, no, it's like, This is one of the really great things that Google Maps and Google Now does, which is show you a calendar notification that says you have a meeting at this time and here's how long it's going to take you to get there. And it's this kind of, this is all what you can do with sort of ubiquitously connected data. And it's good to see Apple start to integrate this thing. I don't want to be like a total pimp. Always
connected. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So it's showing that all of the options that you have on iOS with mapping are now available on the Mac version as well. Back to iBooks. This is so confusing because he seems to be going. Maybe it's just our live blog.
I think our guys are all covering.
Although I like
things
the idea that you could zoom in on a
Yeah.
map so far that you could see inside of a plant cell here. That would actually be something to really give Google a run for their money.
That's right. Whoa. Okay, so back to iBooks. A really great place to learn because you can highlight sections, you can zoom in, you can scroll through chapters with your fingers on the trackpad. Just in case you were hoping that this was going to be a touchscreen experience.
Voice control.
I'm curious
in
though,
case you were the only one in the room who wanted touchscreen laptop.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay to be the only one. You're the outlier.
That's
You're
right.
the exception of the rule.
You'll see.
You're the crazy. You're thinking different.
That's right.
You want to be that one. You want to be that one.
Here's to the crazy ones who want the touchscreen laptops. I saw that.
How did you see that? I thought you were looking at your keyboard.
I have peripheral vision like you would.
You
not
have 4
believe.
eye. You have 4 eye.
I do.
Okay.
That's it for macOS 10 Mavericks. There's a preview for developers available today. For everyone else, it's coming this fall.
It'll be this fall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not today. Sorry.
In the past, they've released their actual operating system around like a July-August timetable, so that's a little later than they normally have.
Well, he said it was delayed because they couldn't come up with a cat name.
Try to contain your
Thundercats. It was
anticipation.
right before your eyes. Now it is Mac hardware time. Phil Schiller has taken the stage to talk about the Mac.
You know what that means?
Tracking
Tracking voices.
The MacBook Air is first up. Dan Ackerman wants to know, as do we all, will it get a higher res screen? I love the MacBook Air. Don't screw it up, guys. Yadzuk says he hopes that for all of this, OS 10 Mavericks better cost at least $10. The chat room was not impressed.
So check this out. Let's start off with the new MacBook Air. Schiller says, what's the future of the notebook? The new line being updated today. These have the most important feature of all day battery life.
All day. Thanks to Haswell. That's using those Haswell chips that are supposed to be way more energy efficient. Plus, of course, the app naps.
Our favorite phrase.
I can't get enough app nap.
They should just do a hip hop campaign and do like MacBook Air all day, day. All day, day. I'm just saying. Your ads have actually been suffering a little bit, Apple. You might want to talk to me. Their ads have been kind of pretty.
Yeah, they have been.
We need to kick it up a notch, Apple. Come on.
Been. I asked the tweeter whether they feel comfortable trusting Apple to properly encrypt and protect passwords and credit card information. Guess what Twitter said?
Hell no.
All right, here, a quick thing on on the MacBook Airs. The new machine runs on 4th gen Intel Haswell. We talked about that. Up to 40% faster graphics and also has better battery power management. It can wake up in 1 second, not 5 or 6, and run on standby for 30 days.
I totally love that, though, because isn't it true that every time they introduce a MacBook Air, they're like, it wakes up in 1 second.
Yeah, and I'm like, it never does.
And it never does. They always say, now they're like, it's going to wake up in 1 second.
Yeah,
like,
seriously,
really?
this time.
This time you mean
the
it?
screen wakes up, but then I have to wait like 5 seconds before I can enter my password.
I mean, I will say that this Haswell chip architecture sounds very promising. 40% faster graphics, way better power management, like we talked about. You did?
Yeah.
I was reading Twitter.
That's all right.
11-inch goes from 5 hours to 9 hours. The 13-inch goes from 7 hours up to 12 hours. You can now watch almost the entire trilogy of Lord of the Rings, Schiller says. It's also now rocking 802.11ac. That's the next-gen standard. And where's
they
my
say it's
play's
3
jumping
times
around.
faster than N.
Yeah.
You still have to get, the internet to your house fast enough to make a difference, but sure.
So what's this graphic here that we have pulled up? It looks like, is that trying to show that the 11-inch doesn't get the full battery life of a day, but the 13-inch definitely does? I can't tell.
No.
I can't. I mean, obviously I'm not watching the Keynote.
13-inch goes until midnight? Oh, from 7 hours to 12 hours. Yeah. Why would the 9... Oh, because it has a smaller battery. But the 11-inch only goes to 9 hours. It's pretty funny, too. The chat room is like, actually, that is not all-day battery life. Just for one thing, a day could technically be interpreted to mean 24 hours, but certainly not 9.
Also, to support the new Wi-Fi standard, new airport base stations, new designs. First up, the Airport Extreme, which has an all-new form factor. We'll wait to see the picture, but from across the room, whoa.
According to
it's an
Josh
iPhone!
Lowenton,
it's a brick.
According to Josh Lowenton, says it looks like a little bit of like a paper towel roll.
Why is that paper towel roll plugged into your wall socket?
I can't tell from that picture. I just can't.
I can't tell at all. Simultaneous dual band beam forming antenna array and a 2 terabyte or a 3 terabyte hard drive.
Someone's going to take that still picture and then call it the iPhone 5S. That's what it looks like from here. I'm just saying.
I am totally going to watch for that to show up on a blog. So the new, back to the MacBook Air. The 11-inch is 128 gigs for $999, 256 for $1199. These new models start shipping today. I am happy. I'm hugely happy to see that you now have the option for a 256 gig hard drive on the 11-inch MacBook Air. That's a big note.
Then Apple will go through their, the fact that it meets all these environmental specs, Energy Star 5.2, EPEAT Gold, and a bunch of others.
$10.99 for the 128 gig 13-inch and $12.99 for the 256. Those are pretty good prices for the Air.
Yeah,
and all shipping. Yeah.
Yep, shipping today. Ooh, shipping. Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Does Molly have a new toy to buy?
Molly does have a 3.5-year-old 11-inch MacBook Air. Although I don't really need a new one. It's great.
All right, now they're saying we're getting a sneak peek of something Apple's working on. So this is basically a total tease that everyone will just be like, why did you show that? We can't get anything.
It's a Mac Pro!
The dark horse. It's a tease, though. It's a tease.
Really?
So they're basically saying,
It's
we're
been
working
4
on it.
years. Like, what did
Hey, guys, we're working on it. They're not going to show you a design. They can't show us a design if they're working on it.
They're just going to show us the controller.
Because they're not. Because at the last minute, they were like, you guys, we cannot go out there and not talk about the MacBook Pro. Or the Mac Pro. Say something, anything. Just put up a thing that says sneak peek.
Here's the wireless keyboard for it.
Like, really? What?
It's going to be like the PS4 event, dude. They're going to talk about the specs. They're going to show it, and they're going to show us the mouse.
Right.
With an all-new touch surface.
I don't even understand. That's so weird.
It's just to keep people salivating. Our most advanced users, where's my thing's jumping all over the place.
Want to get their hands on the fastest and most expandable. So like with the MacBook Air, our engineering team has thought about the technology today and what would be possible. We've literally we've formed a task force to talk about the Pro
versus expandable at all.
At all, right? So what we're doing is we're going and we're thinking about the future of the Pro desktop. I'm sorry, you guys, you are not getting Mac Pro today. You're getting thoughts. You're getting a Mac Pro think tank.
A commitment to think about it.
This sounds like the government. Like this is just. We have a crack team of thinkers.
All right.
Okay, they're rolling a video of this thing, whatever it looks like. I gotta imagine they don't even show it. Maybe they do. Maybe they do. Maybe I'll be wrong.
It's just all shadows and smoke.
There's a lot but so far there is a lot of rumbling.
Right.
So basically they satisfy they're just like, yeah, we're not gonna show it to you. So Molly's prediction is right. It's like half right, but right.
They mentioned it.
They basically mentioned it.
You know that? The Mac
Dan
Pro?
Ackerman says this is like the PS4 teaser video.
Ah, that's hilarious.
Yeah. This is horrible.
This is just. I'm trying to be cool. I'm being cool.
It's just like you have to. You're so desperado that you have to like actually do this.
Yeah.
There's slow pans over the future product. It looks like a big cylinder.
Another paper towel roll. So this
we
is
said
there
were going to be new design cues. Right. The new design cue is paper towel.
Yeah, cylinder is the new rectangle.
My favorite paper towel is Viva. Do you guys use Viva paper towels? They're the best. They're really soft.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah.
I've never used Viva. How are they?
Phil
more
Schiller
expensive?
says, I don't know. They're just really nice, and you can get them. They have 3-size rips.
Okay, here we go. We do have a still image of the Mac Pro suppository.
Also, Phil Schiller.
It's more like an alien pod.
I can't. So you come out and you say you're thinking about the Pro and you're gonna like innovate on it, or you're gonna think about ways to make it cooler.
It's
and then
cool.
Phil Schiller says, "quote Can't innovate anymore, my ass." Yeah, but when are you gonna innovate?
Yeah.
This
honestly, that looks cool. I'm gonna say I don't care. I'm gonna say that looks cool.
It looks cool because it's like a design mock-up.
It's gonna be
It's
what
not
they're
a
gonna
computer.
use. It's gonna be what they're gonna use.
It's been 4 years.
We've got a breakout of the inside of the machine. People are applauding.
They're gonna stop applauding when they find out that it's gonna come out in 2016.
Yeah.
The thing is, we're not watching this video, so we can't really.
I know we don't really know. Schneid's in the chat room also totally uses Viva.
There you go.
Processor, GPU, storage, all built around a new thermal core. Inside is Intel Xeon chips. Can fit up to 12 cores.
Sweet.
This is 2 times the performance, also using ECC RAM. Look at that. That's kind of crazy looking, honestly.
That sounds pretty hot.
But look at the image there. See the picture? That looks awesome. That looks
wow. Sick. That's kind of Darth Vader-y.
Yeah.
See, we have to just wait to let it play out. and come out in 2020.
Yeah. I think that's what we're all going to look like when the singularity happens. Is that right there?
Is that going to be your face,
Donald? That's singularity.
Are those your eyebrows?
My
right there?
brain was going to be transferred into that.
I see the RAM is your eyebrows,
Sure.
and then the fan's your eyes.
Yeah,
that looks kind of like
it
you.
looks kind of like an evil Wally.
Kind of looks like you.
Yeah.
Gadzooks is like, how are you going to cram a pro video card in there?
It'll be so powerful you won't need to.
It'll be external,
I gotta say,
probably.
soda can seems to be the overwhelming response design-wise from the chat room and Twitter.
Double the performance versus an existing model. Schiller says it's also using PCIe flash storage. It's 2.5 times faster than the current NAND flash and 10 times the speed of any notebook hard drive.
So that should be some instant boot up.
They're basically beefing this thing up with, well, they should. If it's going to be their pro power desktop, as all the latest and greatest goodies.
All I'm thinking is, how is Molly Wood going to torture test this thing? It looks pretty hardcore.
Do you torture test?
The good news is I'm going to have 2 or 3 years to try to think of something. No, we really
they sit there.
We primarily torture test mobile devices, although we are moving into TVs for the fall season. Yeah.
Paintball.
Okay, Thunderbolt 2. Yes. It'll be sporting. It has 20 gigs per second throughput and is backwards compatible. First machine with dual AMD FirePro graphics.
Hot.
2.5 times graphics performance as the previous gen. Supports 4K displays out of the box.
Hot.
Which would lead to up to 3 4K displays support.
See, that is a pro machine. That's hot. In 2 years, this thing's going to be amazing. Icor says the way to torture test this would be to roll it down the hill.
Aww.
That's awful. But then you can't open it right away because all the soda will spray. Dual workstation GPUs. You guys, this is such a great video editing machine and photo editing machine in the works here, hypothetically, that they're thinking about.
Well, this is like the crazy.
Apple's working on a new version of Final Cut 10 just to handle all this.
Well, I think
that's the only reason.
They're making promises left and right.
Scott Stein says cube becomes tube.
That's awesome. And then Copperong, this is awesome. We're all like, ooh, 3 displays. He's like, only 3 displays?
Only 3 4K displays?
Also, and Alvarez 2007 points out they went back to AMD for graphics, and we thought they had this big partnership with NVIDIA. They're not specifying the processor, Gadzooks points out. Well, but they're all new next-gen video, multiple streams supported on every port with 3 simultaneous displays. Is it, in fact, limited to 3 displays? That's kind of interesting.
Well, do you need more? For a desktop?
I think for 4K,
but people do.
But I think probably with
the 4K
your HD resolution displays, you can use your Thunderbolt cable to daisy chain.
I would think so, right? Oh yeah, you can daisy chain Thunderbolt displays. Yeah. I mean, I don't, but if you're, if one Mac Pro is going to power your control room, I suppose you possibly do want Intel Xeon. Let's see, we're still kind of hanging on the 4K new gen video. When all we really want to know is how many more years before we can have this machine.
They said end of the year, right? Earlier,
no,
they put up the next previous
they're
system.
Thinking about it.
All right, so they put it up next to the previous system, and it's dwarfed. This is from our own blogger, Josh. It's 1/8 the volume. Schiller says other things. It's got a built-in handle, bringing back the handles for this gen, and Thunderbolt 2 controllers. All the I/O also lights up when you're plugging it in. This is without a doubt the future of the Pro desktop.
And it's coming later this year.
That's what they said.
Yep.
So
it's all assembled here in the U.S.
I was right.
Hey,
I was right. And maybe that's how they controlled any kind of leaking of the supply chain on this thing.
I would have liked to see something a little more specific versus later this year.
What?
Dude, that's not even like...
It's just fall? I'm so used to that now these days. I feel like that. Yeah.
I just feel like whenever you don't have a specific time frame, things don't happen.
They've been they called it a sneak peek. They've been super ambiguous with this product in the first place because it barely, the market there isn't really there, but they have to support those pro customers that were there from day one. So,
but I have to say, going back to Scott Stein's earlier point about wanting to see something where they're really reaching for the stars a little bit, I feel like this, looking at the design, looking at the specs,
yep,
I feel like this is definitely something where they're trying to show that they're more than just the iPhone maker.
I think it's really cool. Like, I would have liked to see them, I don't know, give it a little... I mean, we're not in the room, and so it's hard to say how much production value it really got.
Yeah.
But I would have liked to see something a little more specific, some pricing information. Like, that total lack of specifics makes me feel like it's a sort of a scooch it in at the last moment. It just sounds like amazing technology.
They called it a sneak peek. We knew they weren't going to give us that stuff, though, you know?
After they called it a sneak peek, we knew that they weren't going to give us that. But before the keynote started, it was like, hey, you should give us a new MacBook Pro.
But we got a lot of stuff in here. We got the fact that they're committed to keep improving, the Final Cut? The Assembled in USA thing, I think, is going to be a big headline.
I think there's a lot here.
I'm saying there's a lot there. I just want I want to know when it's going to come out and how much it's going to cost.
Okay.
It's no making you happy, Mom.
I'm not mad. I think the machine sounds amazing, you guys.
Maybe
I'm too mad?
It'll come in other colors aside from black.
I'm not mad. If it's that awesome, don't you want to know if you can buy it?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. It's awesome. Okay, now we're talking about iCloud. Jeez.
You were hard on it. Just calm down. Seriously, it's like we're just saying.
I'm calm. You guys are both yelling at me because I want to know when I can buy it.
I'm just trying to tease out some of the other stuff that was in that block there. I thought there was a lot of stuff that they packed in there beyond the actual tease that was interesting.
I'm talking about iCloud. I don't know what y'all are doing.
All right.
Me and Tim Cook are talking about iCloud.
iTunes in the cloud.
It says that it includes sending 800 billion push messages for iTunes in the cloud. There's this 300 billion icon up on the top corner. I don't know what that's referencing right now. 300 million people.
Yeah, 300 million accounts.
Yeah.
On iCloud. It has incredible scale, Cook says. 800 billion push messages. Yeah, no kidding.
Hey, got what you want, Donald.
Yeah.
Preview of iCloud and how it works with iWork. To show us is Apple's Roger Rosner. iWork is Pages.
Dude.
Numbers in Keynote.
I bet Schiller's so happy he doesn't have to do the demo for
You know, he always ducks out on that, right? He's like, here, let me give someone else a little bit of a spotlight.
To do it. I remember a couple different Schiller presentations of iWork for iPad. It's like, oh.
It was like, it literally killed the room. Yeah. And even at a developers conference, when you show iWork, that's even worse.
Right.
Macworld, maybe. Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Later this year, there will be iWork for both Mac and iOS. Hopefully, we'll get demos of both of those. But first, there's iWork for iCloud.
It's like their Google Docs, Google Apps for iCloud.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And that's good. Yeah. Or it's overdue.
It lets you create.
It's not good like I want it.
I don't know if anyone was asking for this feature. I'm just maybe we're wrong. Maybe we're wrong.
Apple CEO Tim Cook says, what? 7.4 trillion push notifications have been moved through iCloud? Create beautiful documents right in your browser on a Mac or a PC. These are all, though, I do feel like for the last couple of years when we've been talking about Apple moving to the cloud, this is a big part of that. And,
right.
You know, whether it is sexy or not, it does show that they're starting to understand that keeping, you know, maybe they're going to keep their whole ecosystem closed forever, but at least trapping documents and photos and all of this data on one computer at a time without it being able to be synced efficiently is a loser. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and so it's good to see them moving in this direction. It's a good recognition that people want ubiquitous access to their data.
This is a little subtle, but also you could see, again, the flatter design with Pages for iCloud, where before they were kind of like more like documents from a book or a page of a book, where they're just going with a single flat icon piece. Mm-hmm. Real subtle stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Pages, Numbers, and Keynote all now in iCloud. Firing up the app, opens a document that's already been written. This is all happening in the web browser, like they're talking about, because it's in iCloud. Instead of a bunch of UI at the top, it's now context-sensitive bars on the right of the page where you make the adjustments.
How hard would it be for them to make this free, though? I'm assuming this is still for people who've paid to download the app for all the different iWorks apps.
Maybe they'll say for the cloud it's free all of a sudden. I don't know. They should make that app suite free.
Because that's something.
Make that app suite
seriously.
Free.
No, I'm not trying to hate on y'all, but who's paying for it? Who's really paying for that stuff?
Well, they're not good enough to not be free, right? Like you got either make them way better or make them free.
Yeah.
I mean, Keynote is the only one I have paid for and would. You know, I mean, it's worth having.
It's sexy.
It's sexy. It makes pretty stuff. It's nice. But yeah, if you're gonna make this cloud based and you want it to be kind of a selling point, it would be wise to. Maybe they can't make it free though. Maybe that's. No, they're not a big enough market share.
If they're really competing against Google Docs.
Yeah, then they definitely should. And then Zertop in the chat room had a good question, which was Mac or PC? Like if it's web-based.
For the iCloud stuff?
For the iCloud stuff?
It depends if they open up iCloud to non-Apple users, right?
Yeah. You can edit Word docs in Pages for iCloud. You know.
This is the fun stuff, guys.
Yeah.
Just want to let you know.
It's not going to get any better
You're
than
wondering
this.
what's happening? I mean, we can only...
So Viva paper towels, huh, Molly?
Yeah.
Those are the good ones.
it's the 3 sizes that's key.
Oh, my
You
gosh.
can get the small. They just have all the good.
Are they on a roll? I've never seen these, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. Are they on a roll or are they stacked?
No, they're on a roll.
Okay.
Great.
They're paper towels.
Viva.
Well,
But they're just really soft and they're really strong.
I hope I get a package sent to me now.
There's a lot of debate about it on Twitter. A lot of people really are Brawny loyalists. So
Camp Brawny, Camp Viva.
That muscular
I know how.
branding.
the live blog says that iWork for iCloud will be available on Mac or PC. Yeah, you can create beautiful documents whether you're on a Mac or a PC.
Hey!
So that we're starting to see some of that cross-platform creep out that we were talking about.
They've got to make this free then. Are they going to have someone buy it on the PC App Store? They've got to make this free.
They've got to make it free.
No, they could
Flea.
still
Make it flea.
They could still charge for it. I could see.
You just have to have a PC if you have a PC at home.
If you're logging in with your Apple ID, your Apple ID is going to be able to tell you whether or not you own any of the iWorks software.
Right,
and
that's
then,
totally true. iCourse says it's a web editor, so obviously it should work on a PC. I know that, but you never know.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, you never know with Apple. They might just be like, yeah, it's got a web interface that works really great on Safari on a Mac.
and will automatically detect what computer you're using.
Right. Like, you never know. You don't know. Also, Quan is Brawny for life.
Faux life.
After a very unexciting demo of Excel, says Josh Lewis in our live blog, we're mercifully on to Keynote, which again has some of the same context bars on the right for what you're doing. So that poor guy who had to do this demo tosses in a few photos, adds a border and some text, and the slide is done.
Please.
This is all happening in a browser. This is pretty incredible, he says for the third time.
Is it?
I'm getting the feeling. I mean, I'm not there.
Yeah.
I'm getting the feeling from Josh Lowenson that this isn't the most exciting
Come on.
demo he ever saw.
This actually probably is good because people that were watching the keynote, they're like, you know what, we're going to go watch CNET's little, mumblings until they get done with this. So I would actually encourage them to do more keynote, more pages.
Do more pages because we could recommend all kinds of various products in the paper towel and sort of home tissue,
domestic use,
kind of domestic.
I mean, we
stuff.
could peek over at what Microsoft is doing with the Xbox right now, right? Come on, show me something blowing up.
Oh yeah! All right, let's see. Oh no, actually, it just ended, and they threw us back. They threw it back over to us.
Oh no!
Rich Brown was like, "Thanks, it's over. Come on over to our Apple Live blog." We're like, "No, no, no."
Oh, this is really. Hey guys, this is kind of cool. Keynote. They finally got some oohs and ahs from the crowd.
All right.
The presentation runs right in the browser and includes all of the pretty transitions from your Keynote stuff.
Oh, so it's Prezi. That's the third one that's dead. LastPass, TripIt, and Prezi all took a hit today. Took a hit. Not that Google, by the way, did not do the exact same thing in I.O. I think Google's I.O. keynote killed off like at least 150 different apps.
Some of their own, in fact, yeah. Oh, man.
And Alvarez points out in the chat room, did you guys notice that they upgraded the MacBook Air but completely ignored the MacBook Pro Retina?
Yeah.
Good note.
Yeah.
Anyway, that is... I have to say that I have found Prezi promising but hard to use. So I'm kind of excited about the idea of Keynote in a browser, although it raises some very terrifying live demo issues.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of like having a offline file. Now we're on to iOS.
Yes, thank you.
Finally!
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Yay! Cook says over 600 million iOS devices sold to date. Dun, dun, dun.
See, I wish we could actually be like watching this part live right now.
I would like to see this part live.
You can't capture
This
how
is the good
how
stuff.
flowy it is and all that jazz.
Yep. This is
Ooh,
exciting.
buzz.
Ooh, someone got a buzz.
Sorry.
It said, they're going to talk about iOS now. Ooh, by the way, Firefox just got totally dissed.
By who?
The iCloud web stuff is only supported on Safari, IE, and Chrome.
Ooh.
Not Firefox. That hurts. Anyway, Apple about to announce iOS 7.
Or whatever they'll call it.
Dun, dun,
Oh, it's
dun,
iOS
dun,
7.
dun, dun. We wait, live updating. Why are we not there?
Someone just teleport us in there.
I know. It's okay not to be there. Nope, that's the latest thing that Twitter says is 600 million devices on iOS. Maybe they're just... By the way, Steve Wozniak is in the audience today. Several people have pointed that out in the chat room and on Twitter, and apparently on the live stream, they just showed him enthusiastically clapping, and because every other time they showed him, he was like, well, because just like us, he was like, iOS!
Right.
He's like, oh, All right, right now a quote from Cook says, people are using our products substantially more than anyone else's. He highlights a study from Experian stacking up. Of course, this is the propaganda that you got to show. iPhone and Android use. He then jumps to mobile web market share and tablet web market share. I've got to imagine they're probably all in Apple's favor. I'm just on a hunch. Just on a hunch he would show that.
Yeah, maybe.
Not devices sold.
Right.
Yes. Not devices
and
sold.
all the experts say we suck. And moving on.
He says iPhone users are 50% more addicted to their smartphone than Android users. I don't know how you measure addiction.
That's also, though, that's a user thing.
Yeah.
Right? If you say in the tech world, I bet you we all use our phone, whether they're Android or Apple, iOS, pretty much the same. But if you're talking about someone who bought that low-end Android phone that doesn't care and bought a cheaper phone, yeah, they're probably not going to use their phone as much. So, it's, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
Tech user, probably the same.
All right, come on.
Cool graph
stuff. Less graphs.
Less graphs, more information.
Here we go.
They're
iOS,
telling the story.
Scott Sciences. We're going.
They're telling the story.
Something's happening.
Once we get a logo, I'm just going to go like, oh my God. I'm excited for iOS, personally. As long as they don't screw it up.
I know. We're excited and nervous.
Right. I was also interested to see they didn't mention iRadio at all in the in OS 10 updates.
Yeah.
So maybe it's much more specifically oriented towards mobile.
Well, and the latest updates that we saw, even the rumors about iRadio, was that they were scrambling to get the deals. I mean, maybe they're not going to announce it.
They could. I mean, if it is music, they could hold on to it, right, for the fall event, just because. I mean, they're just going to give us iRadio all of a sudden with all this? Kind of makes more sense that it would be part of a story with the whole iPod, new iPhone, blah, blah, blah.
We shall
mobile
see.
story.
Yeah.
Especially if they don't have the
Reason to
deals
stay
nailed down,
Yeah.
Or will it be one more thing? The iPhone pitch at WWDC is that everybody loves it. Everybody's super happy. They couldn't be more satisfied with their devices.
Yay.
Josh Nolenson called that the TLDR on that. The too long didn't read.
While we look at these graphs, do you want to
so
see a
that's kinda
Woz
what
on a
he's doing.
Segway picture?
Sure.
The gratuitous Woz on a Segway?
There we go.
But he doesn't have his
He has a helmet though. He's being safe, which is really important. That's important.
He doesn't have his polo stick though. Wasn't he part of the Segway polo team?
Seriously?
Seriously, yeah. There's a
that sounds really fun.
And really dangerously
I
awesome.
want to play Segway Polo. My goodness.
Steve,
Scott Stein says that his wife is part of the 6% who's unsatisfied with her.
Yeah, there's a graphic that they just threw up there.
6% of people who are mad.
Show 93% of iOS 6 users are really happy. Oh, iOS, these are users. So
this
iOS
is install
5,
base, right?
Yeah, iOS 5 is the install base for 6%, and then that little sliver is.
I see. So he's saying his wife has iOS 5 still.
Probably because she didn't want to give up Google Maps, native Google Maps integration or something.
They're
Oh, yeah. There you go. He's talking about fragmentation, basically, saying iOS 6 is the world's most popular operating system. Android's most popular operating system is the one that came out in 2010.
Ooh.
Burn. Because 37% of users are still on Gingerbread.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I actually just did a top 5 on phones not to buy that's going to come out in a few weeks, but it's they're still coming out with brand new phones that are running Gingerbread.
Yep.
Because I think the processors that can run that are still so cheap.
It is still insanely. It's still easier to get Jelly Bean on a tablet than it is to get it on a phone.
Yeah.
That's just insane. I mean, I completely agree with them that fragmentation is ludicrous.
All right, it's a little sneak peek of Apple's devices.
It's called iOS 7.
Believe it or not.
The biggest change to iOS since the iPhone, says Tim Cook. Dun, dun, dun.
Look out. Give me a picture. Just give me a
I know, give
picture.
it. Oh, we got a picture of a 7.
Here we go.
Wait, iOS didn't exist before the iPhone. How could it? I don't understand that statement.
It's the most their biggest innovation, biggest change.
I see what you're saying. He's saying it's the biggest innovation that the company has done since they introduced the iPhone, maybe?
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
The biggest change to you know what he's saying? He's saying iOS has basically been relatively the same, so this is the first change to it since the first iPhone, which you're right.
All right.
Had the first iOS.
So now, and sadly we have to get it from the live blog, there is a video showing, but the video is not showing the design yet. It's showing what went into the design. It's voiced by Johnny Ive, of course.
Well, we thought about how iOS could really reach beyond the boundaries of what we've ever thought about before. So we wanted to take a new approach and follow the trends that you, the consumers, are hoping for. Can we have a little talking about?
Now say design defines so much of our experience, because that's what he said.
Design defines so much of our experience. If you look in my eyes, you see two eyes, which defines me. So we wanted to take a little bit of that and give you something you've never seen before. iOS 7.
A little bit of the
I wonder how many reporters will be able to get into WWDC next year.
I know, totally. Oh my God, seriously, you got to read this quote. I think there's a profound. Do it. You got to do it.
I think there's a profound and enduring beauty in simplicity, in clarity, in efficiency. True simplicity is derived from so much more than just the absence of clutter and ornamentation. It's about bringing order to complexity.
Can we go back and read some of his other ones?
He got a little Mr. Miyagi there towards the end.
I got a little
he
samurai.
always does.
I got a little samurai.
You did get a little samurai.
I got a little samurai.
But seriously,
it's such a long sentence.
No, you did a great job.
I feel
I'm saying I could do better.
I feel pretty sure that that's what he has said in every one of these videos.
Come on,
like every one of them. And I bet there was a white background, and I bet there was quiet music.
We should take his quotes from
and he
old
was off
ones,
center, just like
and then just
like
put
that.
them in this new one, and it would be like exactly
like
like
Johnny Ive.
Everybody like
quote
yeah,
generator.
for sure, Johnny.
Zertops points out that the music is in fact totally depressing.
The emo piano.
Yeah. Music for
Simple as
Airports
Black.
3.
That is awesome. Anyway, yes, so we're having that design talk again. Although this is kind of interesting. Some people had predicted that this might be Johnny Ive's big chance to be on stage instead of being.
He hates that though.
Oh, really? Is that why?
He's very low key. He's like, let me do the
explains
design,
it then,
Steve.
yeah, he's like, no, I'll just do the video. Slide up to unlock.
Slide up.
Apparently, so the chat room is watching the live video, so we'll get some details from them before our live blog actually updates. New slide up drawer brings setting toggles. There's slide up to unlock, and you get layers now.
They also said there's no mini button. There's no actual slide button.
Right. You just slide up to unlock it. Interesting. Which is actually, that's kind of a little bit of a cue that some of the Android device makers are using, where there's no kind of specific play. You just kind of swipe your finger across wherever. There's a new weather app, apparently, that feels a lot like the Yahoo app. Lots of oohs and ahs because everything has been revamped. All new icons, all new buttons. The color schemes are totally different. The keyboard is now more translucent. You also have active home screens, and the screen will provide a 3D appearance when you move your device around. So if you
the text will kind of float, probably, right? Using the accelerometer.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, the clarity.
The icons have rounded corners, so for those who had some of the early mock-ups that showed them really squared off, that's not the case. They will never be unrounded at iOS. The music app has been updated.
Perhaps more importantly, multitasking now shows you a preview of what that app is doing and what it looks like with cards. Okay.
Okay. Little
Here we go. We got a little screenshot of just how flat this looks like now. Mm-hmm. Really refined icons for all the different settings here.
It looks like anyone who majored in graphic design is going to be all about this OS. It looks so.
It's super clean.
Clean.
So simple is just the new. So flat is just the word that now means simple. Is that
elegant? Simple. Elegant. Well, we should just read Johnny Ive quote, and that's pretty much what it is, right? Is that image from a pull down of notifications? Because if that is, that would show that we actually have quick access to the services, which we never did before with one swipe.
And it sounds like that's exactly what some of that multitasking panel is going to enable, is that previews of what's happening.
Yeah. It's good.
We see iOS 7 as defining an important new direction, and in many ways, the beginning.
Look at that keyboard. That is sexy. I'm sorry.
The slightly translucent keyboard is pretty hot. A very clean, nearly invisible look for the OS. Scott Stein describes it as almost like panes of glass. It looks gorgeous. Looks totally gorgeous.
And looks skinny jeans.
Yay.
And skinny jeans. Boom. Nailed it.
Crotch shot.
Oh.
Johnny Ive stood up briefly and waved at everyone. A random "I love you" came out from the developer crowd.
Of course it did.
I love you. I love you.
There we go. That's a nice little shot of the multitasking panel.
Yeah.
Finally. And we're getting some more pictures in. The next picture really shows off an image of what the OS looks like. This is sick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is sick.
Very pretty. And to be clear, it sounds like my Twitter feed is people being like, yeah, but is there any improved functionality?
Yeah,
and it looks like you are going to get some, though. I mean, if the multi-processing notifications start to work better, if they're cleaner, some of that will be useful. But yeah, we have, this is a redesign video. It's okay. We're just gonna wait. This is cool. I'm not gonna jump the gun and make everybody all mad.
I want to understand the layers thing better.
I'm curious about the layers, and then it sounds like it has a parallax effect where it actually does respond to your movement. So the 3D thing is not an effect; it's actually accelerometer based, possibly.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not positive. So Federighi, it sounds like, is about to do a full demo of iOS 7 in a walkthrough.
This is the part where we cry.
And then we cry about how pretty it is.
My buddy says,
I gotta say, really pretty.
People watching the video said there's a standing ovation for the OS.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have to say my first disappointment is that the newsstand app is still there. Or not app, but like the, folder. They've redesigned it now. It looks prettier than the empty newsstand.
Here's a little shot of the calendar. And Federighi says, on behalf of all the engineers and designers who worked so hard to make today a reality, I'm thrilled to take this opportunity to show you iOS 7.
Dun, dun, dun. That video is being described by people on Twitter as a blow away moment. That people were just like, blown away.
Like they literally flew out the building.
They flew out of the building.
Yeah, literally.
Our editors are working on an editor's take already. They noted that it is vaguely reminiscent of the tiled interface in Windows phones, but the look stays true to the Apple aesthetic. We like the daring steps forward so far, but a contingent of diehards will possibly buck at the unfamiliar.
Yeah.
Virtually unrecognizable, says Lance Ulanoff at Mashable.
Look at that weather.
It looks like the what iOS would look like if it was rendered in a Pixar cartoon. Like everything. It's still familiar, but it's
nice and clean.
Yeah.
It's real nice and clean.
It's extremely pretty.
Yeah.
I really do like the look at that. We're getting quick looks at messages, calendar, phone, and Game Center. Federighi, our resident Apple comedian, says, we just completely ran out of green felt.
Man, those are hardcore digs against Forstall.
They are.
Because he's continually to pile on we didn't kill any cows. We ran out of green felt. I mean, that's a direct...
Really good point.
And in a weird, twisted way, Steve Jobs was a fan of the skeuomorphism.
Yeah.
So, they're clearly showing that they've moved forward from that past generation.
It's a new dawn. It's a new day. Yeah, you're right, though. Those are it's a little bitchy.
Yeah.
A little bit.
The other thing
especially considering that Johnny Ive was there the whole time.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless this was stuff that he got overruled on all this time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But this also allows them to sell a nearly identical looking iPhone 5S later this year and have a very new OS on it that's going to help sell that phone.
I gotta say, though, think how pretty this all would look on a bigger screen.
It'll be pretty on both screens.
It'll be available
but
on the iPad mini.
Yeah,
it'll be prettier.
Federighi unlocks the phone. The icons float down, not all at once. He fires up weather. We see some moving clouds on the screen. You're getting more dynamic apps. It looks a bit like Yahoo's recent... everyone has pointed out that it looks a lot like Yahoo's recent weather app. So everybody apparently uses that. Because, wow.
I think the challenge is, though, with the flat design, it can be kind of translated very similarly across platforms because the rules and the look of it. So that's more than anything why they're saying, it looks a lot like Yahoo's design.
Right.
So simplified.
It's very pretty.
Ugh. When can I get it on this thing?
Who's jumping ahead now? You're like, you know what? Enough with the pictures. They showed the weather at the North Pole. It's having heavy snow.
Wow.
Cute.
I think what's different about it too that makes it stand out and why we're like, oh, this is kind of cool is with the other flatter designs, they're really dark.
Yeah.
And this is like a bright flat design.
It is.
If you notice that, right?
Yep.
A lot more colors and it's not all like super dark
Well,
black.
the colors are muted. So like Windows Phone is not necessarily dark, but it's extremely colorful. Like this is, once again, and this is what Apple does so well, this is a very elegant redesign. It's subtle. It's sort of like the German cars versus the American cars or something where it's not just this big kind of brassy, bold thing. Windows Phone is beautiful in its own right, but in kind of a different style. This is a little bit muted, really, really elegant. Panes of glass has been kind of the best description, that it's very, very translucent.
Super
chilly.
White, super white though, right?
Yeah, a little bit chilly, right? Like one of those really modern design houses, kind of.
Yeah, they're showing images of the calendar. Here's an image we show here of the messaging application. Like when you talk about flat, look at that message app right there. That's flat.
Yeah.
No,
absolutely, it's amazing. The chat room really wants to know why John Ive isn't presenting this himself, and you must be right that he's just terrified.
Yeah,
he just
wants to lay low.
There he is.
There he is.
He's in spirit here.
Hello, Molly.
You pinch out. This is kind of cool. Sirtes in the chat room points out that you pinch out to go from a day view to a week view, and then from a week to a month.
There's an image here of the game, so all of you wondering, what's going to happen to my game icon? Well, it's pretty much going to be there, just won't have that kind of little 3D reflection on it and things like that.
Yeah.
So there's your games icons.
Game Center gets uneasy laughs, says Scott Stein. Maybe Game Center has not actually been the massive success that I don't know.
That was one of their things that they pushed as an improvement in iOS 6 also, because they were trying to make it like an Xbox Live type thing even more. People aren't using it.
It didn't really do anything.
People aren't using it.
Yeah.
Man, this is sick.
Certainly the Twitter response and the in the room response to iOS 7 is very positive. It's really lovely. Luke Westway on Twitter, one of our UK editors, says it's what an OS update should be, the feeling of getting a whole new device for free.
Yeah.
So hopefully everyone with an iOS device will get that wonderful experience.
Yeah, probably not.
So yeah, for all you guys that are watching our live stream, also with Apple, why don't you send us a tweet at #CNET Live. What do you think of what you see with iOS 7? Have they ruined it? Do you like what you've seen? I mean, some people are going to be like, this. A lot of people still like that kind of polishy 3D look, and they felt that's what Apple has always looked like. So let us know. We'll read some of your tweets off. I'm loving this thing right now, and I'm not even watching the video.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm really impressed with it's totally like, it's my personal aesthetic. Thanks, Apple.
It's me.
Thanks for making that. I mean, I don't have one of those awesome looking houses or anything, but like it's like, this looks like what you always want your house to look like. Who are those minimalist people who manage to get rid of all their crap?
It's the Dwell magazine phone.
It's the Dwell magazine phone. High five.
All right, here we go. 10 new features in iOS that are coming, starting with Control Center.
Oh, thank goodness. Like, finally, a place where I can actually make all the little tweaks that I want to. Brightness and airplane mode and Bluetooth. Yes, there it is.
Exactly what they said. Swipe up from the bottom of the device. You get quick access to it. Volume, airplane mode. Do not disturb. The flashlight.
Oh my God, I love that.
The feature of Control Center.
That's actually really helpful.
I know. Oh, how many flashlight apps just died? Can we take a moment of silence for flashlight apps?
Oh.
Okay.
All
right, you guys.
See,
they were free apps anyways.
So Flashlight, Prezi, TripIt, and LastPass. Those are the 4 that have taken the biggest hits today.
Can you make a list?
I'm gonna write that down now. Yep.
Oh my goodness. All right, here we go. Let's while we're going through this, you can jump in when they announce new features. Just some quick tweets. Tyler McCall, I'm loving the new iOS 7. It's so clean and pretty and simple. Bridget, OMG, I'm in live with the new iOS design. Eddie, when can I get it? Ba says, it's like Apple's getting their ideas from Cydia.
Who's Cydia?
Cydia is the jailbreak for iOS.
Oh, Cydia? Well, anyway, whichever. Oh, yeah, Cydia. Anyway, probably. Sure. Get your ideas from somewhere.
One guy, Mark said, Camarilli, I can't even say it. He said, for me, they just lost the iOS 7, or the iOS character.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, they're like, any major design change is going to be controversial for sure. There will definitely be people who don't care for it.
This is great. Multitasking for all apps with great battery life. We talked about battery.
Yep.
Are you going to be bouncing off the walls in a second? Maybe.
Maybe. If they say that I can get my great battery life and I can have it now, although you know that every brand new OS update's always like, meh.
Right.
And expect the stories tomorrow, and I'm not trying to be a hater because software is hard.
I usually try to
expect all the stories tomorrow to be like, here are the glitches and it bricked my phone.
Right.
Yeah.
What we didn't get.
That'll always happen. But
so
there's no data switch option, Zertop and Alvarez pointed out. No way to sort of easily switch off
in
your
the control center, at least.
Yeah. Bummer. Actually, you know what? I'd rather have that than flashlight. Now that you point that out.
Come on.
Or to switch from LTE to 3G when you're having the,
I mean, if you're a spelunker, you want flashlight.
Gadzuk says the iOS is all grown up and has discovered fashion, but Cousin of Joss says, so this is a pretty design change 2 years overdue?
Multitasking, now apps we mentioned, they can all use multitasking for better battery life. Federighi says apps that use things constantly versus apps that occasional use based on how you use them. It's basically scheduling them on the back end.
App nap.
So intelligent multitasking. Yeah, exactly. App nap.
Opportunistic updates. Okay, they need we've got to figure out the updating issue here.
Yeah. Yes.
Like every day, right? I know there's a lot of developers out there, and I know we have a lot of apps. But somehow, please...
It's constant.
Can we work this thing out a little bit?
I always have double-digit updates available, and I'm just like, what are all these things? Am I even using these?
It's ridiculous.
Seriously, I'm totally with you.
Okay. iOS 7. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say what you were going to say.
Oh, really? What are you going to say? We're going to
also
say
now
the same
shows
together?
apps running with previews of those apps?
together, everyone.
iOS 7 also now shows apps running with previews of those apps, so you're not just killing off icons.
I'm not doing it.
Come on, Donald.
Donald.
You're
I
so
messed
not
up
fun.
2 words.
You got to
into
be
it.
such a buzzkill.
so
Hey,
not
I
fun.
helped manufacture that.
The chat room typed it at the same
I create
time.
these magic
You're
moments.
so not fun, dude. Come on, let's go.
I know.
You want to read the next one together?
I'm done.
Be
If it's
funner.
4 letters, you want to read it together?
Okay.
4 letters. iOS 7.
Now they're doing Safari.
You're so on to some.
It was like so exciting, and then
on
now
to Safari. New full screen look, almost zero Chrome, which must mean like any of the edges from the previous OS.
Right, it's like bezel free.
Now there's just a single bar at the top. It has favorites, your reading list, pretty much what we've seen before in Safari. It also shows tabs like a big stack of photos you thumb through as if they were in a filing cabinet. You knew they had to bring some sexy visual effect to Safari just to be like, this is new, guys. Just let you know.
Yes.
This
No,
is
I know. I'm biting my tongue now about
which part?
Android.
Well, I use
That's
Chrome.
how
I use Chrome.
looks.
I use
Chrome
Chrome
has
on,
the
yeah.
pile of photos thing.
I use Chrome on my as my browser on my phone too.
Yeah.
So
No, totally.
it's aware.
It's Erware.
It's aware.
Erware. Leave it to me to make it sound like kind of North Dakota. It's Erware.
Hey, we're a multicultural, multi-ethnic company.
We really
it's
are.
totally acceptable.
Tyler, wow, somebody on Twitter, this is a really good point, just noted that everybody better get to redesigning their iOS app icons because they're going to look super ugly next to all the Apple icons. Man, can I add that to my list of angry developers? Like, all the people have to make new icons now?
They're going to make like all of their, like the Angry Birds icon will be a silhouette of an Angry Bird that's red. I mean, that's no fun.
I know.
It sucks.
That's true. Everybody has to, like, kind of suck the saturation out. That's what this is. It's desaturated iOS.
Funny. It's funny stuff.
Less shadowy.
Yeah. I'm typing that, by the way, in my list of angry developers. I'm so to read this.
Those of you that survived today will need to manufacture new icons.
Oh, that is hilarious. Hilarious.
Still a lot of positive responses on iOS 7 over Twitter.
Definitely. Some simple gestures, apparently, to hop back and forth between pages on Safari, as well as search. And then now included is shared links from social places.
Okay.
The chat room is pointing out that this kind of went by quickly, but AirDrop is also now available in iOS.
Oh, yeah, that was a rumored feature.
Yeah.
That allows you to basically put something in kind of like a Dropbox type folder, and then people on a similar Wi-Fi network can then access that file.
Right.
So instead of emailing a photo, you just put in your Dropbox, someone opens up their phone, and they says, oh, these are all these people in my AirDrop vicinity, and then you can just grab that.
Yeah.
So
there is, I think, no more, I think this is a typo, but no more 8-tab limit. So you can now have as many tabs as you want.
Because that's fun to look through.
And then, you know what? It's funny because the chat room, Twitter, and now Lindsay Turrentine have all pointed out to me, what is this device that they're showing iOS 7 on? Because it looks nothing like a phone or nothing like the current iPhone.
Really?
Yeah,
look at it.
It does. White-faced.
Look, the bezel is thinner and not as square.
It looks the same, yo. Also, they showed a picture of the phone earlier, and it had still the 5 icons vertically and the row on the bottom.
Maybe, you know what it is? I think
sizing.
it's that they are not showing the top of the phone. So the screenshot, the picture cuts off like about here.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? So that's why I think that's why it's not as recognizable. I'm answering the question.
Oh yeah.
The reason that it is not as recognizable as an iPhone is because all the screenshots are cutting off the top of the phone, so it looks like it's just this weird square, like really small.
It's the Lumia 928, yo.
That's exactly what it looks like. It looks like a Lumia device, but I think that's what's going on. Although it does look a little more rounded. I don't know. I'm gonna stop that. I think that's the answer.
Let's just start. Let's actually go with this.
Yeah, but
let's go with this.
It's a fair point because a lot of people have asked, like, why does that not look like an iPhone?
That's not like
I think that's why
that's
they
not
cut
an
off the
Apple
top.
slip up though. Apple would not have accidentally like leaked an image of like their
How
new
awesome
phone.
would it be if they did?
Yeah.
Tim Cook's like, you might have noticed something different about that.
Yeah,
demo.
then it would be like a one more thing. You might have noticed something different about this device, but it does like very unintentionally, I assume, look a lot like a Lumia, which by the way is pretty.
Now, have they changed at all?
I'm like kind of liking the
multitasking?
idea of the not iPhone here.
Like the multitasking, like so that they're going through a demo of showing how the pull up menu, you can switch to the flashlight and start some music up. That's really actually here the photo that just floated in, it looks like a different multitasking pane.
More than anything, they just kind of talked about multitasking as being more efficient on the battery. I don't think they actually showed a direct feature for it yet.
No, at least the photo that just floated in looks like a WebOS multitasking, where you kind of get these slimmed down like pictures of the different tabs that you can float between.
Oh yeah, you do. Yeah, that's the little like preview kind of when you're multitasking. Yeah, it is a little WebOS-y. It's totally cards. It's exactly that design.
Yeah, which was an awesome design.
It was.
Except that device didn't do much.
That was super smart of them to license that after WebOS died. And then
look at what it did.
Look at what
it did.
This is the direct effect of HP open sourcing WebOS. Apple was like, thank you.
Yeah, we'll take that.
Good idea. It works on, here we go. It works on the iPhone 5, iPad 4th Gen, and iPad Mini. And that's the friend circles, I think, not iOS 7. AirDrop. So now they're talking all about AirDrop. So AirDrop, unfortunately, does not sound like it's going to be available on previous versions. Let's not assume that means iOS 7 will not, but certainly AirDrop won't be.
So this is referencing AirDrop, not iOS 7 yet?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you want to do sharing, when you have that little share button, one of your options on the iPhone 5, iPad 4th Gen, or iPad Mini will be to share to AirDrop. Scott Stein says, I'm curious about how across the board AirDrop will be because it could be amazing for events like these. I mean, if our editors were sitting here and they could just like drop these things into shared folders, be sweet.
New camera stuff, which we talked about in the pre-show, live photo filters. So again, a little bit of that. I mean, just phone photo culture, basically.
Absolutely. What is so? Before you take the photo, you can apply the filter in advance.
Yeah, or as you're taking the photo, right? Like swiping through the filters and then seeing your image and then saying, okay, that's what I want, right? Like on the Galaxy type stuff, basically.
Eventually, when we have the Google Glass, we can have our Instagram filters filter the entire world as we live it, right?
Right.
Dude, I'm living lo-fi.
I'm so ex-pro.
I'm living lo-fi right now, y'all.
The Photos apps have been completely revamped to coincide with this. Gone is the endless list of shots. Photos now get broken up into moments, much like iPhoto has been doing in the past. I don't want that.
I don't want that either. I like just seeing it all in one place.
I really, really, really don't want that.
Yeah, but
it would be neat if that was an option, but I bet it's not.
But come on, isn't that what we were praising Google about with Google I/O and they're kind of analyzing
on
photos
Google Plus, but not on my phone? You know?
Doesn't seem like the worst thing.
This is horrible, Donald. This is crap. This is crap.
It might be crap. I just haven't played it out
today.
You know what? Forget iOS 7.
Hey,
I'm sticking old school right now.
Yeah.
Just because of that. Because of this whole photos thing. Yeah. This is pissing me off.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm not doing
I'm
that.
out of here, whatever.
That's it, huh?
No, I'm gonna totally. If I can get access to the developer version, I'm gonna put it on immediately.
You can see shots where
just kidding.
You can see shots now based on where they are via Jago. What?
That's awesome.
Jago-teeing.
Jago my Lego.
Jago my Lego.
Django fetting.
Geotagging.
Jumbaco.
So it would, this could really be implemented in a cool way if it's sorting, if it's the ability to sort. So I could sort by moments, I could sort by geotagging, or I could just have a big giant list. That'd be pretty sweet. I think what you're going to be able to do, though, is sort via geotagging or moments.
I mean, you can see the shots based on geotagging already when you can look at the map on your phone where they were tagged. You can
but look, there's a screenshot up now where it'll display it a little bit more as a list. So it's not a map. It's like you could sort by either your collections or the moments or whatever.
I think that's a cleaner, flatter look, but I actually kind of have fun looking at the map because you like zoom in, you go, oh, I took those pictures in that city. Like it's kind of neat. So there's a playful thing.
You two travel a lot more than I do. It's just like I've got like 3 pins. Like, oh, here's your sad life mapped out in 3 pins, Donald Bell.
Brian, are you still tired for that trip to Korea you took last week? Man.
Oh, here, let me zoom in. I went to this district in Korea, then I went to this other place 10 miles away. Like the same commute that you do from work to home, but that's all your pictures
That top 5 green screen takes me to many locations virtually.
Well, all you got to do to make it look cool is just like take pictures in different areas of the studio and then extremely zoom in, and you can be. That's pretty cool.
So you can preview in the geo mode by tapping on the screen and scrolling. You can add, of course, filters and share with any photo, and then you can browse. You can scrub through an entire year. This is kind of a cool the years display. That's
cool.
awesome.
That's tight.
So you can, because I feel like the new way to operate an iPhone is that you've got like multiple years worth of photos on it. I mean, it's just some constant photo album, and you're just always like, oh yeah, back in 2012, like, brrr, and it takes forever. Like, this is actually pretty cool.
I wish they could somehow integrate iCloud into photo. Oh,
other people can. Wow, that was creepy. Other people can now share into your iCloud shared photo stream. Okay, but
that's fine sharing. But I wish you could upload pictures.
I wish you could freaking find the iCloud photo stream at all, because it isn't even on iCloud.com. Like, photo stream is impossible to find or use.
Really?
And it's still a temporary stream, right? It's not.
I'm okay with using it.
And it's still temporary, right? It's not albums. It's not, even Dropbox just got albums. You can now stream sharing videos by iCloud. Okay, I love that, because sharing videos is still way too hard.
The photo stream gets only really gnarly when you have to share with multiple friends. It's just not clean. But just turning on the general photo stream for your own stuff, I actually like that. It works pretty well.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. I just never know where to find those things.
Yeah. I think did you turn it on, honestly? Because it's not on by default. Oh, you did? Okay. I'm like, you know how sometimes we do that?
And then I finally just stopped. I was like, I don't know. I'm baffled.
I want to touch this iOS right now.
Surf Dude says, and this is totally true, I didn't transfer my photos from my iPhone 4 because they didn't have a feature like this, and now they do, so that's awesome. Gadzuk says, and this is a good point, I hope they're bumping up the storage on the iPhone if we're going to store that many photos. 64 gigs is pretty good.
Yeah, but my phone
I'm a dummy, and I bought the 32, and I'm full.
I'm a dummy.
You know what I really wish? I wish that the iCloud storage plans corresponded to the phone storage, because they don't.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always out of storage on my iCloud.
Oh, here we go. Eddie Q coming up to talk about some Siri action.
Oh,
this will be interesting.
Some serious Siri action.
Siri will be
now
flatter.
It's getting serious. This is serious.
You guys know what show that is, right? If you don't, too bad.
Wonder Pets.
If you don't, you missed that episode.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, the CNET live tweets are hilarious. Gerv HD says, somewhere in America right now, Scott Forstall's crying in the fetal position in the corner of a room.
No, he's just working on better polished icons for WebOS.
He's wrapped
and they pointed out that
blanket of Felton leather.
At 11:38 in the screenshots, there was an iTunes Radio screenshot during the multitasking demo.
Oh, really?
Ooh.
Good call. Good call.
Good catch, you guys.
I'm going to go back and take a look.
Siri got a new voice.
Husky voice.
Just at the exact moment that someone in the chat room said, I hope they don't change your voice.
Oh, you're right. I'm looking back at this iTunes Radio. I see it.
There it is, right? Yep, it's coming. Siri's getting smarter. Q says you can use it to play my last voicemail, turn on my Bluetooth, or increase my brightness.
Where'd you see the iTunes Radio icon?
It's 11:38.
If you scroll back to 11:38.
Oh, okay, cool.
Siri has a whole new interface. There's a sound wave on the bottom. The results come up full screen now. Siri itself gets an entirely new voice, and there's also a male voice, high quality for French, German, and other languages over time. The voice got, quote, cleaner.
More Twitter.
Quite a number.
Look at this. More with Twitter and Wikipedia, along with Bing search results. Did I hear that right?
Bing. Josh Lowenson says Bing is raising some low murmuring here among developers.
New feature iOS
rabble.
in the car. This is maybe a takeoff of Samsung's S Drive interface.
This is great. They should have this.
This stuff's great.
Yep. Because that's the most useful. The only time that I find myself using Siri is please call someone or please send a message, all with voice. Yeah. And what I do like about the Siri kind of multiple steps is that it reads the text back to you, which actually Google still doesn't do. Windows Phone does it, and so you get a little preview without having to look at it. It's much safer.
Eddie Q says 95% of cars being sold work with some playback controls for iOS, but we want to take it to a higher level. Q says we want to get it on the screen of your car.
Oh,
I'm very curious about this.
Curious.
How's this gonna affect my karaoke?
I'm gonna. Someone's gonna turn us off right now.
They really
Maps, music playback, messages, all this stuff is eyes free. Eddie Q says.
That's awesome.
Yeah, this is great. Look at that flat icon.
Can it also control Spotify? That'd be cool. Because that's where I get all my.
Get that developer
control
on
iTunes Radio.
I know Spotify. Yeah, hopefully again we've talked about this with the speech API. Hopefully Spotify can have some access to this because I don't use iTunes. Like I want to be able to control the other ones.
They've kept, like you said, they've kept it very walled just within Siri, not letting developers get these APIs to integrate into stuff like this. So.
I mean, if they announced some Siri APIs, people would lose their minds in this room. They really would. Baked in maps.
Let's do it together.
Baked in maps, messages, music playback, cars, including this integration option in 2014.
You're freaking me
I know we did it wrong.
I know.
So 2014 model years, which are coming out this year, we'll have some of this integration. I don't know, man. I totally got burned by buying a 2004 BMW that had iPhone integration.
Was that just like the plug in the dock in your glove compartment?
It was, but then it was a whole like talking to the phone. It was mainly the built-in plug, the dock. Like it was the old dock interface, and then they did the new dock interface, and then they did the newer one.
Right.
Like, look out, y'all.
5-volt USB versus
Totally. I'm a little nervous about that.
Check out how cool this is. We have a screenshot a little lower. I'm not sure if we can see it yet, but it shows like kind of a cleaner interface of just a row of four icons. What's up?
The App Store is now getting automatic updates.
It's about time.
Only the App Store, though. I think not the apps. Oh, wait. Yeah. If the App Store can update my apps automatically, what will happen to mistake updates that say do not install? That's what Scott Stein says. Anyway, yeah, that nice, clean, back to that nice, clean row of icons at the bottom for the hands-free interface. It's nice. A hands-free and car interface is awesome, but automatic updates delight me. Because, oh, my God.
So far, like when we talk about from a functionality standpoint, right? We've seen so far the car integration and maybe some like added functionality to Siri. I mean, photos have been revamped, but I don't know if that's really like a major functionality thing, right?
Yeah.
Just keeping a little checklist right now.
I'm seeing some iRadio looking screenshots, or is that for the in car? Maybe it's just
the music playing in car.
Yeah.
The music player, it's very bright. It's flat and white.
Mm-hmm.
It's Flight.
It's Flight.
OS 7. Flight.
Finally, videos via iCloud. They're kind of showing that off. That's cool. Sharing videos via iCloud is nice.
Yeah.
What else? What's going on, everyone?
Let's see here.
Figueroa wants to know what the deal is with the lock screen.
All right. iTunes Radio is indeed built into the music app, which we were assuming.
There we go. We're on iTunes Radio.
Yep.
So the music app now just becomes a Pandora, Spotify, except with your on-device music. So much for my hopes of seamlessly integrating my iTunes catalog into my Spotify playlists. I know you did a how-to on that, but I was hoping it would be easier. All right. So we're waiting for more details on iTunes Radio so far.
I wonder if they'll allow you to do it over your data connection versus like Wi-Fi only.
I wonder. Yeah.
Look at the icon. Oh, yeah.
You know what? I feel like that allowing or not allowing anymore is moot or less important because most people have capped data plans.
Right.
So really, it's just up to me to decide whether I want to blow through it. You know, they don't need to. Because previously they were not allowing you to do FaceTime over data because AT&T was like, help.
Yep.
But now AT&T has figured out that they can just charge me out the wazoo for that.
They're okay with it.
Or in my case, Verizon. And so, you know, it doesn't have to be restricted in the same way.
So there's a little quick icon or a quick screenshot of iTunes Radio that looks like it's built into the music app itself. So, yeah. Wow, look at this. If you have a chance,
is an ugly icon. By the way, I need to say.
But I don't think they're really going to use that icon. If it's built into the music app itself,
that's maybe just your button to get to it.
Yeah, I don't know.
So they showed. They even had a little thumbnail on here that says music heard at WWDC.
Oh, yeah. Nice! That's kind of awesome because they always play like the hippest new tunes.
Well, they also have a trending on Twitter music station.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
oh, there you go.
Right
that's kind of cool.
Oh, you mean that center icon that I just completely didn't stare at?
All right.
What? That?
Huh?
I like that actually. And you know, I have to say that Apple, although we're kind of over radio apps in general, Apple is in the best position to sort of seamlessly integrate this. So it's not necessarily like a stand up and freak out kind of announcement, but it's a really natural, obvious addition to iTunes that will in fact make it, you know, pretty nice to be able to stream and use it. Because the reason that I have never used iTunes on my iPhone is because I'm a Spotify user. I'm a streamer.
But
I just like to make streaming
Here's
playlists.
the most important shot, I think, for Apple, which is that every screen of what's playing currently has like the $1.29 buy this track now button right there.
And that's why they were in the best possible position to get better deals from the music labels. And I hope that they will be able to announce that and apparently they're not going to, they showed it off. I would have hoped that they would be able to announce better deals with the labels because they have such a strong buy-in kind of ecosystem. But, you know, I suspect they're going to have the same streaming library as everybody else, which is a little bit of a letdown. But this is still a really nice feature to have in iTunes. I mean, streaming.
If you look at how they presented it, they just basically showed it off a little bit. They didn't go on and talking about the depth of if there's really any features other than the fact that it's a radio service that has a little dollar, ability to buy from it, and there you go. So it says it's built into iOS 7, iPhone, iPod Touch, iPad, iTunes on Mac, and Apple TV as well. Free and ad-free if you have iTunes Match. So that's the kicker. iTunes Match is $24.99 a year, I believe.
Yeah.
That was the matching your collection. It's in the U.S. first, other countries over time. They call it the best music player we've ever done.
So interestingly, iTunes Match becomes possibly the way that they're able to get a bigger library, because if you can actually stream the songs that you own on iTunes already with iTunes Match, it's like they have a de facto bigger library, It's a little bit of a hack, but basically it means that a really good streaming library from Apple costs you $25 a year.
Yeah. Which is not bad at all,
it's
actually.
It's cheaper than Spotify.
Yeah.
Premium.
Pandora's
$10 a month.
$3.99 a month.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get to download songs, but Spotify's $9.99. I think Spotify has a $4.99 one also.
I think they do, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Now they're showing off the iPad a little bit. They're saying you get FaceTime audio, so you can do high quality calls over Wi-Fi that aren't necessarily voice or
with iOS 7.
Video with iOS 7. Notifications sync across devices. That seems obvious and overdue.
Wow, it's just funny to see WebOS live on iOS 7. I mean, when I see that picture, it's just like, that's WebOS.
Cards. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it really is.
Because when we first saw WebOS, we were like, oh my gosh, that looks so good. That's so smart. And it's like, yeah.
Right.
We're going to take that.
We're going to take that. Great artist steal. Steal's such a negative word, but
take and recreate a little bit.
Like if there's a good idea out there and it's been open sourced, use it. The cards are brilliant. They're beautiful. iPhone, so phone, FaceTime, and message blocking, per app VPN, and activation lock.
Yeah, here's kind of one of that features. Slide that you can look in there. Oh my gosh, Chinese English bilingual dictionary. Thank you. That's what I wanted. Sold.
Is that what 10-cent Weibo is?
I don't know.
What's 10-cent Weibo?
I don't know. Honestly,
should
I really
know?
don't know.
I feel like I should know, but you don't know either, so that's good. Hey, chat room, what's 10-cent Weibo? Also, Skype takes a hit now. Another one, but not really. Uh-oh, Emily's phone is in lost mode. They're talking about find my phone for situations with theft. If a thief tries to turn off or deactivate Find My iPhone,
phone explodes.
They won't be able to reactivate it. Also, the phone explodes.
Okay.
So that's pretty sweet.
Cool. That's good. We have an ink pack built into the new iPhone.
No one has told me what 10-cent Weibo is.
Maybe they just threw that out there to see if anyone would believe them. That's the thing.
The chat room wanted us to know, by the way, that Microsoft confirmed a November launch for the Xbox One with a $499 US starting price.
There you go.
There you go.
November 1.
They don't know what it is either. Back to 10-cent Weibo.
SDK has 1,500 new APIs. Apple talked about, potentially opening up the APIs more for developers. So all 1,500 of them, you get one.
You get none if you're on iPhone 4S. What are your predictions about iPhone 4S or not?
Oh, you mean iPhone 5S or not?
No, iPhone 4S supporting iOS 7.
I'm gonna say no.
No for iOS for 4S.
I'm just gonna say no. Yeah.
Oof.
I'm serious. Yeah.
Yeah.
I say no. I think that there's no, just because of what they've always done, there's no reason for them to all of a sudden be like, oh, we're just gonna go back one more model.
I know.
Like just cause.
But they still sell it.
Yeah, they still sell it.
There are betas for the iPhone available today. iPad coming next. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Of the Sprite kit for fast game animations.
Okay, well, they did show side here. Beta
developers get a beta SDK for iOS 7 today.
The problem is I'm not going to put it on this phone, even though I have a developer access, because it screws up your phone, You just don't, even though you want it to look nice, I won't be able to
You
call
say
it.
that now,
iPhone,
Brian
here
Tong.
it is, you guys.
You say that now.
iPhone 4 and later, iPad 2 and later, iPad mini, and the 5th generation touch can all get iOS 7.
They opened it up.
That's pretty well, because they're still selling those phones. That would be the only reason. I was like, if they weren't still selling them, because the 3GS they weren't still selling,
Killer.
It's a lot of love.
But so betas today, but we don't get a release time frame. We just get betas today.
Yeah, they're gonna say fall when that phone.
They just didn't even say
out?
that. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. They didn't. I don't think they even said fall or this year. We're just like, here's what it looks like. Betas today.
So it looks like they're doing the recap now. Cook's back on stage, going over OS 10 Mavericks, new MacBook Airs. We did not see any new MacBook Pro Retinas, but they will be running the Haswell chips with a better power efficiency. Sneak peek of the Mac Pro, and obviously iOS 7, Mac OS 10 Mavericks. Also, let's see what else they're talking about. iWork for iCloud, iOS 7's new features and new interface, and iTunes Radio. So,
boom. Tencent Weibo is a Chinese microblogging website launched by Tencent. It's China Twitter. Oh, they said fall. Thank you. The chat room says coming this fall. Sorry, I missed it, guys. Thanks. Appreciate you catching us there.
All right, but there's no way we're going to be able to get access to iTunes Radio until the SDK, right? Or until
either the developer access on a phone, right. Or
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah.
I still don't know why they wouldn't have rolled that into iTunes too. Maybe we'll probably see that this fall.
Well, I think they said that. You mean it? From what I had seen, I mean, we weren't watching the video, but they did make it sound like it was built into the music player, but not
the
iTunes Radio feature,
desktop version of iTunes.
Oh, okay,
you know what I mean?
okay.
Oh, doesn't get a radio update? I wonder.
Like, would iRadio come to that?
I would hope
so. Or why not?
That's a good, good point. Maybe just to not make iTunes bigger. I'd like to close with a reminder, says Tim Cook, that our goal in Apple is to make amazing products that our customers love, really great products that enrich people's lives. The words you saw at the beginning of the show are more than just words to us. They're the values we live by.
I wanted you to read that, but without, crediting Tim Cook, so it could be like your own words.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'd like to close with a reminder that
Mollywood lives by values.
You'll continue, whatever those values are, I live by them. And you will continue to see these reflected in the products that we here at CNET do in the future. We've created an ad to help us express just how deeply we feel about this. And I'd like to share it with you now.
Nothing feels more heartfelt than a corporate video ad.
Yeah. Seriously. I know it is so like these values they're more than just words to us. For example, here's an ad.
Roll the tape.
I gotta say that last shot of like the new power, the
Mac
Pro, it looks like an air purifier. It looks like
a Dyson.
Really,
it's a Dyson.
And or like soda can is surprisingly apt.
I think it's cool. It's crazy looking.
It sounds unbelievably powerful.
Crazy.
Like I cannot wait to see that thing in action and benchmarked. It looks the hotness. Like desktops can still be exciting.
All you power users out there, what do you think about the new Mac Pro? I mean, from what you saw, they talked about the specs a lot. I mean, are you guys excited about that thing? Because it's a smaller group of users now, but man.
Yeah, are you guys
the
fired
thing's
up?
redonkulous.
FaceTiming from the noodle shop. What?
What'd you say?
Someone's FaceTiming from a noodle shop.
in the video.
Yeah.
FaceTiming from the noodle shop. I will. Okay, here's another one I want you guys to tweet me. What is the coolest place from which you have ever FaceTimed? Because when I was in Hawaii.
Hashtag CNET Live, y'all.
Hashtag CNET Live. I was in Hawaii a couple weeks ago for an Always On episode, Pimp. And I was driving in a Jeep in the middle of nowhere over lava rocks, like trying to find my way back from this, mysterious lost beach with and it was, we were going whatever, like 2 miles an hour, just nowhere. And it was time to call my son and say goodnight. So I FaceTimed him over LTE from the middle of nowhere, Big Island, in an open top Jeep. And he was just like, what is going on right now?
Not bad. Not bad at all.
It was pretty good. He said, Cook says, I'm really glad you liked that ad. You'll begin to see it on TV this evening. Those words mean a great deal to us. Those words meaning designed by Apple in California. Slow-mo, plucked strings, etc. And that is a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Not for us.
No. So what we're going to do here, guys, is
no.
we're going to stick around for probably around the next 15, 20 minutes, digest a little bit of this. Also, we do want to remind you that throughout the day, we're going to have clips directly from the keynote. I know some of you were able to watch it, but we're going to be posting those on CNET.com, as well as all of our editors. Donald's going to be just like grinding away, just kind of their commentary, their analysis of everything that you saw here. So just stick with us.
You're probably going to hear a lot from our laptop and desktop reviewers about, if not hands-on, at least their opinions on the specs and the new upped.
Yeah, there are some first looks already posting on CNET of the MacBook Air, and I know that if those things are in the building, and I suspect they are, we will have video up shortly.
Yeah, and we're opening up the phone lines again, obviously, so we're going to take your calls, talk to you a little bit, and just kind of see what you thought about everything. But I guess let's just take a quick survey in this room.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's give it a grade. Let's do letter grades. Letter grades.
Letter grades.
What do you think?
Overall, I mean, considering that it is a developer's keynote, I'm going to give it like a B minus.
Oh, B minus. Okay.
I'm going to give it a B. I think it's a B keynote.
Yeah.
It doesn't, I mean, I wouldn't say that you saw a game-changing feature, but in keeping with my Apple should just keep doing what they're doing, speech from earlier today,
right.
I mean, everything here looks solid. They're bringing new features to the mobile and the desktop operating system that bring them more into harmony. I think it's a good solid B.
Yeah, I think I'm going to echo Molly's thing. I think going into this, there is like even in this room, we were talking a little bit of like preemptive doom and gloom of like, oh, Apple's not, there's a lot of stink on Apple, but they're not gonna die. But like this still felt like a very vibrant, still very Apple.
Yeah,
it's gonna be hard to pull like a doom and gloom story out of this. For tomorrow's news.
There's nothing wrong. I just don't think there's anything wrong at Apple, right? Like it's
all perception.
It's all perception because everybody expects magic pixies all the time. Like iOS 7 looks beautiful. I mean, I know that iWorks felt like it dragged down the Keynote, but that is valuable stuff for them to have. It always does.
They
always drags down the Keynote.
They almost do that as a pace changer just to be like,
yeah.
Oh my God, iOS 7's coming out,
Right.
But what was your grade? I was like texting because what was your grade?
I was saying B too. I feel like there's a lot of ways this could have gone badly. There's a lot of things they could have flubbed. I feel like iOS stole the show in terms of like being more beautiful than people have thought about. If Apple has succeeded by showing something so beautiful or so interesting that they hadn't thought of before and being creative, getting people excited about things as mundane as mobile OS, I think they pulled that off today.
I mean, I actually really think that if it's just a Keynote comparison, right, as a WWDC comparison or a WWDC Keynote, B, right, like they delivered for the developers and whatever, but compared to the truly kind of potentially world-changing innovations that you got, I think, from the Google I/O, like the stuff that they're doing with data and with predictive analysis and just the high horsepower technology that's designed to improve people's lives, I think you saw a lot more. Like if that's what an A+ looks like, it's a pretty big, it's a long way, I guess, from that B to that A+. But that doesn't mean that anything here is going to ruin the company. Like everything that they've done here is an important step forward. It just didn't necessarily disrupt the industry.
Yeah,
I'm going to be a little more optimistic, and I'll tell you why. I give it a B+, because I think that if we were watching the video, the Keynote, I think we would have been a little more amped up.
I think so too.
I think we would have been caught up in more of like the visuals because we're looking at this from the outside, which sometimes actually might be a good thing, right?
Yeah.
We weren't there watching as it happened, but I think also your point, right? Google, it's hard because now Google and Apple, they're doing a lot of different things. Like Google has all these amazing, like you said, data services, and it's almost like Apple is still a product company, right?
Right.
As they're at their core. So Google has the ability to reach well beyond products and do things that can change everything in technology, where Apple's still stuck to this product world. So it's kind of hard to put them on that same plane.
I would say in Apple's defense, there's a lot of stuff that Google wants to be able to do that Apple does really well.
Oh, for sure.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that Google says they're going to do and they don't follow through on.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, what Apple did is they made they kept their consumers, I think, really happy with this Keynote because you get features that you really want. You get more backwards compatibility than you have ever gotten from Apple before. And frankly, I'm delighted that the release cycle has slowed a little bit. I mean, I actually am. Like, it's good that there's not an iPhone 5S right now when the iPhone 5 was just I like to see a little bit of breathing room there. And for them to say the 4S is a beautiful device, keep selling it, put iOS 7 on it. I mean, it's, they're not. It may be hard for people to swallow the idea that Apple isn't going to come out and try to change the world,
right?
But they don't have to. These were good incremental updates that were necessary that will make all of these products work together better. The only thing that I really, really would have liked to see is a little more information, frankly, on what those 500 SDKs or APIs are going to.
Yeah, they kind of just went over it.
Or 1,500. Like, what's in there? Is it voice? Is it Siri? Is it mapping? Is it geolocation? Is there something in there that's really going to make app developers? And, of course, the customization. We didn't get any of that cool customization that I think people were still really hoping for.
It looks like it's not going to happen.
But that was always a pipe dream. Yeah. That's not how they roll.
I mean, I'm super happy with what we saw here. I'm really more curious of how the Mac Pro is going to play out. Just like, obviously they probably won't sell tons of those, but I mean, the technology in that thing is beast mode. They should just call that thing beast mode.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, but
it's for the user. Depends on the user, right?
Right.
But,
I mean, tons is like obviously a subjective word, but I mean, Pixar alone is putting in orders now.
Oh yeah,
they're just like, we're gonna need 100,000 of those immediately.
Or just every graphic designer or video editor who wants to have be like the envy of the office.
And there's a lot of them. There really are.
Stuff was sick.
And I could totally imagine that being an engineering machine potentially. Like that machine is. That's the only reason that I went on and on about wanting more details about it, because it's ridiculous. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a freaking unicorn computer.
So I mean, overall, the consensus looks like everyone was stoked about the keynote in general. I think iOS 7, I would say it delivered for me, at least from a visual standpoint. Feature-wise, though, if you kind of look at the big picture, not too many features. I mean, did Siri really get dramatically
Siri
updated?
Got nothing.
Siri's going to be...
She got some stuff.
She got some stuff.
I really like the being able to switch on my Bluetooth or like little things through Siri, like the deeper integration into like turning things on and off and actually operating my phone with Siri, I think is a big deal. And
she got Bing, you guys. She got Bing.
What's that?
She got Bing.
You want to search the web for that? Yes.
Can you guys go to apple.com real quick? I'm just seeing like a broken page and a bunch of broken images, which I think is what the chat room wanted me to see when they said go to
Apple.com. Because everyone is hammering them.
Everyone's just like, Mac Pro. Yeah, I mean, Siri, I don't think if it's direct access to Bing without all those different steps, you're not going to notice that it's Bing versus Google.
True.
You're just going to get search results, and that's going to make Siri better. So, in fact, I think Siri getting Bing could be a good thing for Siri.
Yeah.
So it looks like we're gonna start. The lines are reopening up, guys. Thanks for holding on. We had to like keep them busy for a second, so we'll take calls in a few more moments. Continue to send us your tweets at #CNET Really, what's your grade? And if you guys are calling in, what's your grade of the keynote? And what did you like? What did you not like? I mean, there's some people are complaining there was nothing about the MacBook Pro Retinas, so that might be held on.
I think people are bummed.
That'll
about
be
that.
held on till fall maybe for the next announcement. I mean, they won't do their own standalone announcement with that. But for example, here on Twitter, just a quick little opinions. B Mobile says Apple made a little comeback on iOS 7. It's really good. Multitasking from OS 7 looks like WebOS. Rolando El Blanco looks like Apple froze eggs with WebOS, fertilized them with Windows Phone in a lab, and called it iOS 7.
Nice.
Man. All right, Rolando, I'm there with you on that one, man.
I'm picking up what you're laying down. Yes, I would have called it borrowed design cues from other sources, but yes, what you said.
I have to say there's some serious gear porn at the apple.com/Mac-Pro for the Mac Pro.
Really?
You get to just kind of like page through and all these animated transitions of the Mac Pro kind of like dissolving apart and getting the boards flung out of it. And it's really pretty.
That
Juicy.
is hot.
Okay, we're going to take some calls here. We'll take a few before we get going. Kyle, what's up, Kyle from New Jersey?
Hey, guys. How you guys doing today?
Good. Thanks for hanging with us all the way through. We appreciate it, man.
Hey, it's better than just watching clips and blurbs of Berlin for a couple hours. So
Whoa! Did we show you that Berlin thing too many times? Did we do that?
I kind of want to book a trip. I kind of want to go. But
You're feeling
it was a travelogue.
You're feeling that. So, Kyle, what's up? What's your thoughts?
Well, I wanted to know. Well, you guys already talked about your grades and everything for it, but what do you guys think that they missed out on? Like, what do you think that they should have talked about but they didn't talk about? What's something that they did talk about that you didn't expect them to actually do, to actually talk about in the conference?
I mean, for me, I don't think, unfortunately, that there's enough features that happen in iOS 7.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest disappointment. If it's a developers conference and it's about the developers, that's great. It's a beautiful facelift, but I love it. I mean, I'm all juiced up about it. But feature-wise, maybe I have to see the car interface. I think that's probably really more than anything the most revolutionary feature from Apple's standpoint. But beyond that, I mean, it's going to be beautiful, fun to look at, but not that's going to be that's a letdown.
And I felt like I got excited when they started to talk about services, when they started to talk about things that were going to be possible with new services, but they didn't pull it all together in a way that sort of, the way that Apple, I feel like the reason that people have the sense that they're in trouble is because they're primarily a hardware maker. They have always been a maker of things. They have never totally understood the concept of services, of synchronicity, of cloud, and of social. And I didn't see enough of that here to make me feel really confident that they get that that's what users want, that what we really want is that total ubiquitous access, all the sharing. I mean, if you were going to revamp the photo app, I know it has some sharing built in, but like if you they could have sort of emphasized that more. Some of it is probably just PR, right? They could have talked about things a little bit better, and it would have made us feel like they were moving in a more service-oriented direction. And I think that would have been positive.
I think and maybe I just didn't see it because without the video, but I think there could have been some more strategic trash talking on Apple's part. Because usually they always do the recap of like, here's how much our app developers are getting paid. Here's all the apps we have in the App Store. Here's how great we're doing. Here's all the money we're giving you guys. But I think like right on the heels of Google I/O and also with Windows 8 kind of
knocking at the door,
floundering, figuring out exactly how it's going to keep going or how to keep people excited about it. It would have been a pretty good time to knock that around and remind everyone why, like, their success story with apps and software. Maybe that happened, but I didn't see as many digs. I saw more digs against Forstall than I did against the competition.
He suffered the most. Seriously.
Oh man, he just feels like a bruised, beat up little dummy. So
yeah, but I mean, they could have really hammered on like the whole Chromebook thing, like Google's sad-ish attempts at getting into the laptop market. They could have hammered on like the Windows 8.
I had no idea that Donald was really like. I wanted a little more hate.
No, Jobs was really good at putting a couple skewers in the competition, and while it's simultaneously talking about how great Apple is.
I have to say, I would have thought, though, that might have come off a little desperate to me, especially considering that they've had so much negative press lately, and everybody's been like, "Oh, Apple's in trouble." That I felt like the times when you did see Steve Jobs refer to competitors like that, you were always like, "Ooh, he must be a little scared." You know what I mean? Like,
and they were the top dog. Like, they were the undisputed champ back then. You know, like they could just say
so he
whatever
usually
they
just
wanted.
ignored the competition, just like, we don't need, you're a fly to me.
Hey Kyle, what were you happy about seeing, and what were you disappointed about seeing?
Well, one, I was happy that Siri got a revamp. I don't really like Siri. Well, I have the iPhone 5, and I was actually thinking about switching to the Galaxy S3, to be honest with you. Just because, Samsung keeps coming out with these more creative apps and, but, iPhone normally it's like, oh, hey, we've got this new phone. And it's like, yeah, it's the same thing, but it's just like, oh, it's thinner, but it's smaller and it's larger. It's like, it's not really like stretching for the stars like Steve Jobs would always do. It's more like playing it safe. And now it looks like, they're loading the rockets with some fuel, getting ready to shoot up into the stars, if you know what I mean.
And you want to jump on board, don't you?
Jump on board. And I do think that, for some of those features, some of those things that were a little short on detail, I mean, they were, they had a lot of stuff to pack in there, but I almost think when we get the next hardware announcement, that's when we're going to get some more of that feature detail that isn't there now. That'll be, powered by new hardware. But the fact that they announced iOS 7 now, announced that it's going to be available backward compatible to those previous devices, I think is still really a plus. Yeah. You're probably going to see some new phone-only features get announced in the future, though.
All right, thanks for calling, Kyle. Appreciate it, man.
All right, guys. Have a good one, guys.
Thanks.
All right, we're going to go. Yeah, for sure. I mean, we love all you guys still kicking it with us and everything. We're going to go kick it out to Brandon from Louisiana. Brandon, what's up?
Hey, what's going on?
What's going on? What's your question? Thanks for hanging.
No problem. One of my questions are not really questions, but just kind of aggravations about WWDC was, although I really like the look of iOS and everything, I was a little bit disappointed that they didn't mention an improvement of battery life for it.
Were you looking kind of for a hard number, per se?
Because they definitely did. I felt like they touched on battery life. They didn't go on and on about it in iOS, but they definitely did touch on improved battery life, right?
Well, I think the challenge here, Brandon, is they did definitely say, like, with the multitasking, it would be better optimized to give you better performance in your battery life. But I think what it really comes down to, and we alluded to this, is that until we see the new hardware, that's when we'll probably see battery numbers. A lot of times they like to compare, okay, this new phone has this not only an optimized OS, but a different kind of battery or a larger battery, and then they'll compare that performance from the previous model. And so I think give it a few more months when they release that next-gen iPhone, that's where they'll really tout, like, visible hour increments of improvement. Not right now. I mean, everyone wants to know that your battery's going to get better, and yeah, it's a bummer. We don't know how much, but I think that's when we'll really see a hard number.
Right. I agree.
Mm-hmm. But I agree. I think, like, it's interesting that they went on and on about it with laptops and with OS 10. Not as much with iOS 7. Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think in comparison, it felt a little light on battery life, and that is my big beef right now. Although I think my beef is coming from a bug, not a.
But hey, Brandon, what did you like that you saw the most at the keynote?
I really like. I think iOS definitely took the show, and then with the really cool video on the Mac Pro, because I personally have never used the Mac Pro before. I'm more targeted towards like the MacBook Pros, which I was disappointed that they didn't mention. But I really love the look of the Mac Pro, and it makes me kind of shift gears toward maybe picking one up as soon as I figure out what it costs.
Yeah. Well, that's the challenge with the Mac Pro line. I mean, you're starting minimum for like a very basic model, at least even the current stuff, like around $2,000. But when you want to talk about like a beast machine, you're really going to drop around $4,000, $5,000 when you talk about loading it with RAM, getting the latest hard drives, the faster ECC RAM. I mean, it's an investment, but if you're in that spot where you want to kind of do more and get into that really high-end graphics type work, then it makes sense. So, but it looks amazing. It looks amazing.
I'm thinking that thing is going to start at minimum $29.99.
Seriously,
minimum, probably $35.
It's gonna be pretty.
They
big.
have it. By the way, I retweeted a photo that Scott Stein took. They have it under wraps, like under glass.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, not to keep harping on this, I'm surprised at what a prototype stage it's at, considering how long it's been since there was a Mac Pro update. But they're doing a really good job of building the buzz
hype,
around it.
Yeah, that mysterious hype of it.
And that site, that apple.com/Mac-Pro, is just completely like computer porn.
Bonkers.
Yeah.
So, hey, Brandon, thanks for hanging with us. We really appreciate it, man.
Thank you, guys. Y'all are awesome.
Thank you.
You're awesome.
Mwah.
You're awesome, my man.
You're awesome.
All right, let's go all the way out to the UK. Let's, jump the pond a little bit.
Love it.
John, what's up?
Yes, I'm here just watching you guys' shows. Just kind of like have a question about, very excited about the new products. Not quite what I'm in the market for, though. They updated the new MacBook Air, but my question is, what about the MacBook Pro? Is it going to mean that in the future, in the near future, it's going to have the new processor, or it's going to just kind of stay the same, and the new processor only going to be applied to the MacBook Airs? I'm kind of like disappointed on that matter, because I've been waiting patiently for, I'm ready to buy, and I've been saving money for a while. Obviously, Apple products are kind of expensive, but it's worth the money. But my question, bottom line, is your judgment on how this upgrade on the Air is going to translate to the MacBook Pro.
I wouldn't worry at all, honestly. It's going to come to the Pro Retina line without a doubt. I think that for whatever reason, whether it's a supply chain thing, they weren't able to announce it with the Retina. There were rumors that the 13-inch MacBook Pro Retina would just be slightly slimmer in form factor, but the expectation has always been, and they follow just Intel's roadmap with their processor line, that Haswell would be coming to the laptop. So I wouldn't worry about that. I think every improvement from a technical standpoint you saw on the Airs, you're pretty much going to see on the Retina Pros. It's just whenever they finally announce that. But I know a lot of people are bummed because they were expecting it today.
Right.
Sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes we see maybe even the sneak peek was in place of the Mac Pro, to kind of fill that time too. Who knows?
You got to wonder, yeah.
Who knows? And maybe they're doing other big things with it, but ultimately, don't worry. They're going to do everything that they've done with the Airs. I mean, if anything, the MacBook Pro is, even more. It is their flagship Pro high-end model for the laptop, so they're not going to ignore that.
But it might just be a little bit. So don't do anything now.
I'm not going to go out and buy it.
Exactly.
I wouldn't buy one. I wouldn't buy one right now.
Better buy to buy the MacBook Air, but I'm all about Mac Pro. So
yeah, if you're loving the Pro, just sit tight.
Yeah, don't buy anything.
Probably around fall when they announce all this other new, like iOS 7 starts trickling out. There'll probably be a new phone announcement. There will probably be then I think you'll see a MacBook Pro update. If not before, you actually may see it sometime this summer.
Yeah, the back to school season is typically when they've launched new laptops as well, so it might even be before fall.
Yeah.
So. But thanks for calling. We're going to take about 2 more calls, you think, guys? Is that good?
Yeah, that
you guys good with that?
All right, thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it. You're like, I think
yes,
I
I'm
think
starving.
I mean,
2 calls. Yes, that sounds good.
All right, let's go hit up my man Brian in Florida. What's going on?
Hey, thanks for keeping me up to date today. The Apple live stream is not working at all today.
Oh, we're so glad we could be here. I know, we had that problem too.
Yeah. Wait, you too?
Yeah.
You too? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're very welcome.
My question was, what do you guys think about them not releasing any new hardware for any iOS devices today? I noticed they said pretty much nothing about a new iPhone, iPod, iPad, anything.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty typical of them. I mean, they announce, or I think it's in their best interest to announce hardware when people are closest to a buying season, like the holidays.
Yep.
Unless it's, I know historically they've come out with iPhone releases for the summer, but it's not necessarily to their benefit unless you're in the middle of like a 2-year buying cycle for a contract.
I mean, like I said, I think I said a minute ago that I'm kind of thrilled that they're slowing down the release cycle because I think it's great. I think it's great to let these devices breathe a little bit, especially if they're really thinking about a significant redesign for the iPhone. Mm-hmm. I think that nobody really loved the 3G, 3GS, 4S. Nobody really loved a phone coming out a year after the last phone. I mean, it's just, I get why they did it, but it's not
They also have that cluster of like the iPad 3 and then the iPad 4
new.
and the iPad Mini, all like in one
iPad
year.
new,
Yeah.
and the new.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to do the iPad 3 and then the brand new iPad 3 that was sort of the same one but had a Retina, and then the other one disappeared right before that. It was like, look, it's getting way too intense. The only thing that I would, and then, we had made jokes when they announced the iPad Mini that 6 months later they would do an iPad Mini with Retina display, and that would have been today. I'm really glad they didn't do that because that's just a douche move.
I mean, we weren't. Reality is also before the show, right? We weren't expecting anything from the iPhone camp here today. The past year or 2 years now, they've done this pattern now, though, where the developer conference features the OS. It gets everyone kind of worked up, gives developers a chance to incorporate features from that iOS, gives them a chance to play with it with the beta. Then come September, the actual phone releases, and they've stuck to that pattern in the past couple of years. So, just steady. They're steady on the course with that, and that's what they're going to do this time around too. We will probably see an iPad Mini with a Retina in September, but we'll wait and see when that shakes out. And I'm just really curious if the iPhone is really going to be the same form factor, or are they going to do two phones? My silly crazy prediction last year, before we even got into whatever it was that we would see two iPhones, and at that time I was kind of laughing at it.
Right.
But maybe it might actually happen this time around.
I gotta say, investors were pretty mad that there weren't two iPhones.
Yeah.
Because the Apple, with that premium priced iPhone, is really missing out on the developing market, and that is seen as kind of the future to almost every company's survival right now. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see them do a lower priced iPhone.
But
it makes a lot of sense.
if they're not cutting ties to older generations of iPhones with their OS update, then those older iPhones can
fill that void.
void.
Yeah, that's true. They kind of do.
And that's more Apple style historically anyway.
Yeah. I mean, historically, yes.
Well, I mean, right now I have a 4S. I have a 4S right now, and I have the upgrade in July. And I'm not going to waste $200 in a 5.
Do not buy anything.
Brian, if you do, I'm going to find your phone number, track you down, and hurt you.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
It probably is. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't think it's going to go much later than fall before there's a new device.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
don't do anything.
All right. Thanks for calling,
You're in
Brian.
the
We
catbird
appreciate it,
seat.
man. We appreciate it.
Bye.
Okay. Last call. This is our last call. Okay, we're
Last
gonna go.
call, you
We're
guys.
gonna last call for the alcohol.
Make it good.
Before the alcohol, actually. All right, we're going to go to John in California. John, thanks so much for hanging with us all the way through.
Hey there.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much. I've been kind of watching both ways. I watched the Microsoft.
Nice.
Well, hey, how could you not? I mean, iWork or Xbox One?
That
What
was
you gonna
tough.
do?
Even
What
we
you gonna
went
do?
over to the Xbox One during
What you
that
gonna do?
thing.
Yes, that was a bit of a dull zone. Anyways, have you seen the airport time capsule? It's just one big stick.
You mean paper towel roll?
Yeah, paper towel. That's that we got on the paper towel discussion.
That just has it's squared.
Yeah.
That is hilarious. I'm going to look at it now. Yeah, that one, it just is a weird big square. Yep, that's totally. Although.
Is it more rectangular, though, right?
It's tall.
It's a tall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's just.
New design cues. That's what we're all about today. New kinds of designs.
Hey.
Yes.
Hey, if it uses faster Wi-Fi, just go with it. Don't even question it. It's using the AC standard, 802.11 AC. I'm not going to look at this.
Say, I mean, unless you're getting like really like high speed internet, like unless you're not feeling the pinch, feel like you're getting the most out of your internet connection that you've got coming to your house. Like the difference between N and AC. If all things being equal in terms of the speed you're getting to your house, it's not going to be a big difference.
Yeah, may or may not. Yeah, true. I mean, with N, you are pretty much almost getting your current broadband speed.
Yeah,
right.
But I mean, by all means, get the most you can get.
John, what did you like? You're our last call today, buddy. So what did you like and what did you dislike? This is your time to shine, okay? I'm just telling you. What did you like in the keynote?
I liked iOS 7, but there wasn't much surprising to it. And most of the stuff that you saw, if you really wanted, you could have just hacked the iPod and done it all with the what you call it?
With jailbreaking?
Jailbreaking, yes.
Yeah, I mean it's a little different than that, but I get what you're saying. I definitely get what you're saying with that, all those settings and stuff.
But you're putting that they're putting up there, except for iTunes Radio, which you could have just gone with Pandora.
So you're basically not happy about this at all.
Yeah. You're like, ouch.
But yeah. Anyways, yeah, I have an iPod Touch. the 5th generation one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm waiting.
Okay.
I'm waiting for the iOS 7 to come. I was trying to get to the developer page just to see if they were like saying about anything, and guess what I got?
Tell me what you got, because I don't know.
404.
This web page is not available at the moment.
You know, the actual Apple page was down for a little bit too, so keep trying.
I also have to say one spoiler I've read now at the very end of the iRadio product page here for Apple is that it is only going to be available in the U.S. Which is surprising because, like, if they're doing direct deals with all the major labels, they don't have to abide by the same
that's a big
royalty issue that Pandora does that keeps them at U.S.
Because the
and
store,
Australia
I think,
only.
is only U.S., right? Can you only buy iTunes
They
Music
did say
from
they
the
were going to
store?
roll it out later to other countries, but initial launch, I mean, we've seen how these things kind of prod on and kind of take time. Trod on.
Yep.
Trod, sorry, wrong word.
Prod and trod.
Trod. But,
it's just, I can tell right now it's not going to be a Pandora killer out of the gate. It's going to be a nice feature to have, but
yeah, I think it just every time we aren't affected by it, but it just must suck every time a tech company releases something new, and it always starts off typically like U.S. first, U.S. only, and you're just like,
and Canada,
I hate you guys.
Yeah, you know what? But Spotify was a reverse case of that, right? That one went from caught fire in Europe for like a year or more before it came over here.
That was the one thing that we really wanted from Europe.
We're the U.S. Damn it! Don't you know we have to bring it over here?
All right, guys, so we're going to wrap things up. We are all good to go. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, our WWDC 2013 coverage. Just a quick note, at 6 p.m. tonight, we will also be doing a live stream of the Sony PS4 keynote over at E3. So if you guys want to tune in and hang out with us, we'll have a live blog. We won't be here because we'll be eating dinner.
Yeah.
But please stay and watch with us. But Molly, thanks for hanging out with us.
Of course,
always
it's my
great.
pleasure to be here. It always is. This
It's the
is
crew.
wonderful.
Donald.
Next time I'll match you guys.
You know what? I like it.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about that.
call
We'll
you
talk about that.
and
Yeah.
Get that in the doc.
I like it when the stream doesn't work because then we just get to talk the whole time and it's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. Probably a lot more people are watching.
I think
Maybe.
so. I hope so.
Maybe.
We'll see you next time.
All right, we'll see you guys. Remember, CNET.com for all of our coverage, videos, write-ups, opinions, analysis. You know where to go. Thanks for hanging with us, and we will see you guys next time.
Mwah.
Adios.
Bye, everyone.